Tyler Ramos. Tyler Ramos. Tyler Ramos.
Here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, hey. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right after ATP. Shout out to my boy DZ. Guys, why do I feel like a little kid? Like, hey guys, hey, what's up? It's Frankie Candles. Hang on, guys. Let me lower down the Frankie Candle studio here so I don't look like a child. But what is going on, everybody? Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys for watching tonight's live stream. There's a lot of things that you guys could be doing with your time, but you chose to spend it with the Candle Mafia and your boy Frankie Candles. And guys, we have an awesome show for you guys tonight. We have special guest. You guessed it. Well, you knew it. You probably saw the Twitter promo. You guys know Crypto Lifer's on the show tonight. We're going to be bringing him on in just a second. But, guys, we're going to be asking Lifer. You guys gave us the questions. We're going to be talking to him, asking them all. We picked the best questions. I mean, the Mafia always comes up with good questions, but we had to filter some out. We always got the duck question. You know, sometimes we like to have some serious questions, but we did leave some fun questions for Lifer. But we compiled all the best questions, guys. We're going to be asking him the questions you want to know the answers to. And I actually have a couple questions for him myself, as we are finally in somewhat of an interesting point in the market. We are, we ranged around for 2 months. We lost the range, and now we're kind of back in the range. So hopefully we don't have a bunch of boring price action ahead, but we actually have some stuff to talk about. So I'm really curious to see what his thoughts are on some specific things. And then, again, we'll be asking him your questions. And, yeah, Bitcoin coming down. Is the pump over? Maybe Crypto Lifer has an answer for us. I'd love to hear what he thinks. But before we get into it, guys, don't forget to smash that like button. Every 100 likes we get, you guys get a spin on the wheel of pain and pleasure, where you guys have multiple chances to win some free crypto, maybe a free Frankie Candles hat, which, guys, this is a new Frankie Candles hat because mine was just old. I mean, we have tons of these hats in the office, and I was just wearing a super, super old one. I was like, hey, can I get a hat? Tony D, can I get a hat? And they made me pay for it. They made me pay for it, guys. I'm just kidding. They didn't make me pay for it. But, guys, let's say what's up to the Mafia, and we don't want to keep Lifer waiting too long, so let's say what's up to the Mafia and then pull up Crypto Lifer and start our show. Rob the Crypto Snob right off the bat. What is going on, bro? Thank you for being here. I appreciate everything you do for the channel. Dave Digital, as always, in there with his custom mod wrench. Shout out to Dave Digital, and be careful out there, guys. Dave said that he is he said he's not tolerating any kind of goofing off in the chat. This is a serious stream. I don't know. He said that in the beginning. But shout out to Dave Digital. Thank you for being here, bro. Shout out to Steven Atwell. Shout out to Learning. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. Kendall, what's going on? Crypto Main, what's going on? Creighton C, as always, happy to see you. Do we got Gensler in the chat tonight? Gary Gensler, if you're in here, show your face, man. Jonah Lang getting oh, wait, who? Apples Up North, gifting those 5 Frankie Candles memberships. I do appreciate you, Apples Up North. And shout out to Jonah Lang for getting that membership. Shout out to Cade, Theo, Nate Anderson, not to be confused with Connor Anderson. Shout out to Connor Anderson. We got Dixon in the chat. Trey Blake, what is going on? We got Wesley, Dixon, Apple Juice. What is going on, bro? Thank you for being here. Yeah, Dave Digital said he will not tolerate clowns. That's what he said. He just corrected me. But with all that being said, guys, shout out to Learning, shout out to The Hash, and Darren Does Things in the chat. Shout out to all our wonderful mods, guys. Show our mods some love in chat. And while you guys are showing love to the mods in chat, I'm going to go ahead and throw on the old headphones, and let's go ahead and bring on our special guest. Give me a second here. Let me rearrange a little bit. But yeah, let's go ahead and bring in our special guest, Crypto Lifer. Crypto Lifer, what is going on, brother?
Yo, thank you so much, man. I brought something for you, man. Brought some sauce, baby.
Let's go. I love it.
Let's go, baby. A little bit of garlic, a little bit of basil.
Yeah, throw a little garlic in it.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I really appreciate it. As I was waiting to get on, I was eating dinner, and I was like, man, I'm excited. Like, I'm excited to be on with Frankie, man. And then after we met, too, it was so cool to meet you in Miami and see you face-to-face, see your whole team, Tony, too. Shout out to everyone at the Hit Network. Shout out to you. Shout out to the whole Candles team, man. We love you guys. The Lifers love you guys, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And bear with me. I have an echo in my ear, so I'm going to be having to toggle on and off my volume while I talk. But yeah, dude, super awesome meeting you in real life. And we actually chatted a little bit while we met, and it's so weird because we had met, a ton of times. I've been on your show. You've been on my show. We have met. We have talked. We've spent time watching each other's content. So, you feel like, we feel like we know each other, and then you meet in real life, and it's I think you made a kind of a comment. You were like, these bodies are just these things that we walk around in, but, you meet online and you meet the actual entity behind that body, and then you meet in real life, and you're like, I already know you. This is it's like, I feel like we're already friends, even though we've never actually made, physical, never physically met.
It's happened to me a lot now. Like, lifers pick me up from the airport. Like, they're like I flew into Miami, I flew into Texas, and there's 2 lifers. Let me get you from the airport. You don't need an Uber, man. And it's like someone that I've talked to in the group for months on and off. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, and then we're just talking in the car as if I knew them my whole life. And it's really, really interesting. One person recognized me once on the beach in Florida, and he happened to actually be in the trading group. And it was so weird. He was like, so I was meditating and something told me to walk to the right. He's like, I walked to the right and I saw you and your family. And I was like, Lifer? And so he was like, Sam? And I saw this guy. I'm like, who is this? It was so crazy.
Yeah, it is weird, right? People see
fascinating.
You and they know you, and they're like, hey, what's up, man? And you're like, oh, God, have I met this person before?
It was fascinating. And the guy was such a nice guy, and we really linked up. And then he was like, dude, go to this restaurant. And I ended up eating at this Sunset restaurant on Anna Maria Island. If I didn't see him, I never would have put my name in. And we had an amazing sunset dinner. So it was like, man, when you go after your dreams, cool things happen. That's all I got to say,
Absolutely. And, we were talking a little bit, just crypto in general, I feel like, it's like our people, right? You meet these people and it's we just automatically get along. I think there's a certain type of person that's in crypto, and that's why everyone gets along so well.
We are all the people that, back in England and Europe that got on the ship to the New World. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were like, yeah, we're done. We want to be able to do our own religion. We want to do what we want. We want to get out of here, So we're already connected. We already broke out, and we all want to keep moving forward. So there's that strong crypto really brings people together.
Yeah,
really
100%. I couldn't agree more. But it's been a while since you've been on our show. I think I was on your show last time. We finally got some price action to happen. We got this big pump up, 100% move on Bitcoin, and now we're getting a little bit of a pullback. I guess let's just start off, and if you could give us just kind of your general thoughts on the market, the current state of Bitcoin. Are you?
Yeah, you want to pop out a chart? I guess is that cool?
Oh,
is
yeah.
that?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I could do sign language. It's just kind of I'll just take a cup and a teacup and just because you're gonna see a cup and handle, that, right? Everybody knows that.
And if we're lucky, can we get a Sammy cup and handy?
Sammy cup and handy to the upside.
Yes.
So check it out. Bitcoin was range bound, all right, and it's been range bound in this giant falling wedge. It's interesting. If you watched my channel, and I've been doing some free updates at night, just because I feel like the market's been a little iffy, and I've been throwing some free updates out there. And when we came up to the top and we had that huge pump, number one, when we dropped really fast, right, because of the crazy news. Mm-hmm. But when we came up here to the top, before that, we had this crazy resistance that we had to break above. We broke above it, and then we made this higher low, which got a bunch of people bullish. I mean, 2 daily candles closing above 2 daily candles with a wick, and that's a higher low, right? And but we couldn't, this bar of resistance, which is 27,005, we'll say around there, couldn't get above. And everyone starts trading and then adds, right? So when I first started trading, I was just a pattern trader. Right now I use support and resistance, VRVP, I look at volume and price. I look at the RSI, stochastics, and like I have like a 9-point checklist really that I go through. But at the end of the day, up, down, up, down, up. I said to everyone, I said, don't be surprised if the daily comes back down and test the bottom of the chart. Like, you know what I mean? And it's funny. Sometimes you'll see a trade and you're like, why didn't I just trade the simple way? Like, I have all these indicators and I could have just taken them all away, looked at this and just said, hey, I'm going to short that down to the bottom of the channel, right? But so, and they've been messing with us too, psychologically, right? Going after the exchanges, doing this, doing that. Now they're securities, but they weren't securities. Like, so you, let me get this straight. So you let Coinbase, buy and sell these things for 4 years straight. You don't say a word about it. You say everything about, you know, you send them a Wells notice for something else. And then right when we're getting some type of clarity and the XRP case is coming out and we might hear some news. And we can see, you know, what I take it as is it's like, I'm flattered, you know, like someone puts you down and it's because you know that they're jealous of you or something like that. So it's like instead of getting upset when they like try to call you out, you're like, oh, like they're intimidated by me. Right. Yeah. So like, they're intimidated by us. Like they can't handle the truth. You know what I mean? So anyway, so we saw this price action up and down. Well, this is what I'm seeing personally. I go to the weekly chart. I love my weekly and my 3-day. They're my like go-to charts to kind of see what's going on. And I'm huge about the 200 SMA. One thing that I did recently, which was pretty interesting, is I went to the Dow Jones Industrial, right? Which is just a big, you know, just a big chart. And why I'm using the Dow Jones is because I like to use the Dow Jones or just any chart that has a lot of time on it, because I like to like calm myself down. And because all the things that we use and all the different indicators that we use, they transcend through multiple assets, right? So I went to the weekly on the Dow, you know, and I started pointing out whenever the 21 crossed the 200 SMA, right? And just like I do logical stuff because like no one has the exact answer. All we have is like, you know, it's kind of like archaeologists. We go into the past to see kind of what happened and try to build of some type of hypothesis, right?
Yep.
So like the hugest rally that we started here, right? Yeah, 2002 is that? Yeah. Oh no, 1982. The 21 crosses the weekly, and look what happens. Like a massive rally for the Dow, like unbelievable. Actually, I mean, money printing, you know. Then again, the 21 crosses the 200 SMA on the weekly. And I'm a simple moving average guy. I've gotten into EMAs, but I just, you know, I stick to what I use all the time just to become obsessive with what that is. And we cross here on 03. Massive move to the upside, right? Look, just a beautiful pump. Here we go, and we cross again right here. Massive pump to the upside. Now, you can't guarantee that that's going to happen, but let's switch over to Bitcoin, right? And let's look at that weekly chart that I had sitting here. And look what's about to happen. Like the 21 is about to cross the 200 SMA. Because, you know, the golden cross is like, usually by the time this red line crosses and everyone says there's a golden cross, like when this does happen, which is the 50 crossing the 200, we should have pumped by now and been up here. And then we'll probably come up for another pump. And like, we might even have a golden cross and a pullback. You know what I mean? But like that golden cross, it's almost like I'm trying to think of something, a good metaphor, but it's an aftershock, right? Like price comes up, and because the indicators come from, you know, the end of the weekly close or the end of the daily close, we don't get that information until the candle closes. So that makes them latent. The great way to use them is, you know, you can pop them EMAs because they're less latent, but you can also, instead of using EMAs, you can just front run these ideas, right? Doesn't make you perfect, but so I looked at that and I said, man, that's a bullish sign. And then I looked at Tesla, I looked at oil, I looked at multiple, you know, I just looked at all sorts of, because I'm trying to show people that this isn't me telling you what's happening. This is me just going over the facts. Look at the 21 crossing here on oil, blast to the upside, like this oil India, you know? Just a huge move coming after the 21 and that front running that idea. And what I've noticed is like you're kind of hiding out on the 200 SMA right there. So I started looking at this and that's a Sammy cup and handy right there. That's a cup with a handle. It's also the shoulder, the head and the shoulder. We come out.
Yep.
I have tell you what, so many times in my life, I've watched the head and shoulder break out. And I tell you like 60 to 70% of the time, the head and shoulder has to come back to the neckline. I don't know why. So if you look at this and that was your neckline, we're retesting the neckline one right there. Previous resistance becomes support. We have this diagonal kind of support hanging out, which is interesting. Yep. So I'm like, okay, I'm starting to build a story, right? I'm trying to look at a narrative here. Now, I am bullish as long as this weekly candle closes and stays above this 200, the 200 simple on the weekly. Like we do that, I'm good to go. I'm building a leverage position right now, very small. It's like I'm putting in, I want it to be like $1,000 to $2,000. I want to hold it till we get to 40 or you know, 42K, somewhere up there, you know, make a little sweet move. And again, I'm not a huge leverage trader. I just started leverage trading like 2 months ago. Like it's not my forte. It's, but I'm just adding to it. I'm like, hey, why don't I just do what I do when I swing trade on spot and just kind of slowly kind of map in to a leverage trade. So my idea is, you know, I put in like $300 of the first 1,000. And then if we can close this weekly candle above it, now if we don't, I'll end that trade and I'll wait. This weekly candle closes below the 200 SMA, I will be a little bearish. Like I'll have a bearish sentiment. And people look at traders too, and they're like, wait, last week you said bearish. The 2 days later you said you're bullish. 2 days later you said bearish. And I'm like, and they'll look at me and I'm like, yeah. And like, a seasoned trader, like will check them on my live stream sometimes. They're like, yeah, like he has a set of rules and those rules were now broken. So now he's flipping the other way. Like that's like, he's like, it's going to take you a couple years to figure out why the lifer did that, but you can make you look like a flip-flopper, right? And I'm sure you get that sometimes too, because you have your set of rules and people, it's going to take them a lot longer to figure out what you're doing. But if this weekly candle can close above the 200 SMA on this all-time history index, I mean, that would be really nice. Like that's what we want to see. And like, we kind of came to it again and then we bumped back above it. It gets you a little, so I get a little bit of wonder there that's not the best thing in the world. I look at the weekly here too, again, and I look at multiple charts. Sometimes I'll look at a KuCoin chart, a Binance chart, but you can see they're all hanging out below now, right? We were up, we were below. And so it tells me we just, and even it's funny, I went to dinner and Bitcoin has been dumping since I ate dinner, right? I didn't even get to see the charts until now. So we're starting to get the pullback, back to the bottom of this channel, which, on the weekly, I can handle it as long as this weekly doesn't close below the 200 SMA. The weekly closes below the 21 and the 200, and it could be a dolphin dip, which is just a little dip and we come back up. I'm open-minded to that, but I will be like, I'm not going to open a long till we get back above the 200 SMA, in my humble opinion. Now, I mean, I might make a small long on like a 4-hour or something like that, but I'm not going to go macro all the way back to 40K if I don't see us hold back above the zone. It is a beautiful cup and handle. It is nice. But another thing to think about is, the number one, we could come back down to the 618, right? 706 area, and we could retrace that area. Another thing that I keep talking about and that I'm open-minded to, and that's the key, is to be open-minded, to not get stuck in your bias. My first 3 or 4 years of trading, it had to be one way, and it wasn't. I freaked out. I swear it was. Now I learned. You get burned so many times, you eventually realize, all right, I'm just going to take this every day as it comes, and I'm going to be open-minded all the time. I have a CME gap mapped right there, 20,004. It really ends up to 21,000, let's say 200. It's kind of in an area. It's like an $800 gap. We also have a gap up here, right? But, just like we came and closed that 19K gap really fast, I wouldn't be surprised if we did some crazy dumpage. We got some more news. They used that news as a catalyst to bring in some fear, and they got people freaked out, and they brought it back to the downside. However, so that's our bearish scenario to keep everyone kind of on their toes. The bearish scenario, we come to the CME gap. I'm still on the impression, because people ask me all the time, and I'm open-minded again, but I say there's a 95% chance that this is our bottom. And the reason is because I looked and searched again. I searched oil, I searched the Dow, I searched Tesla, I searched as many long big charts as I could that had a long period of time, and I looked and searched for weekly bullish divergence. And if you go through the all-time history index chart and you look for weekly bullish divergence on Bitcoin, this right here, and you go and try to find it, you're not going to find it. All I could find, I found a hidden right here. Right here's a little hidden because it swings up there, and it almost doesn't swing up there. It's like a class B hidden bullish divergence, right? Okay. I keep going here. This is kind of a bullish divergence. You have to really, really make it stretch. And so to find weekly bullish divergence it's so rare. I did find it one time right here in 2015, all right, where we had a swing down, and we had a swing up right there. And that was the last time. And unless I want to go until Bitcoin was $300. So that's telling me and screaming at me that, and that's why I loaded up in these areas. I bought a whole Bitcoin at 19K on my live stream. I bought a lot at 16, 8, 17, 18. I bought $1,000 today. I just keep, I load up. I'm taking advantage of this 4-year cycle. I'm still under the guise that we are in a 4-year cycle, and that these are going to be your lower prices. And everyone, don't beat yourself up. I spent hours and hours, 10 hours of my life, and if I end up hitting somewhat near the bottom, hope to God I did, because I literally locked myself in a room for 10 hours a day to get there, right? So if you didn't do that and you have a job and you bought anywhere in the zone, anywhere below 25,000, I would say pat yourself on the back, Now we see some naysayers, and I see some people too that not even naysayers, just open-minded traders that say, hey, 8K is still on the table, 10K is still on the table. They're looking for this big recession, this big pain. But I don't believe that we're going to get enough FUD down there. Also, a lot of people were being told we were going to 10K. And I've seen the story. I know you've seen the story before. It's going to go here. It's going to go here. They get 70% of traders thinking that. They all go short. They create the liquidity for the market maker to run up. Only some of like the keen, really over, people that just trade religious, like all the time, they end up getting some of the move or a bit more of the move. So all these people thought they were going to get 10K, 9K, 7K. And what happened? They didn't get it, right? It got up and they got freaked out. And they said, well, once it got here, they're like, oh, that's just a fake rally. That's a dead cat bounce. Like, I'm going to get my 7K. And so they waited, and then it went up again. Now they're like, now it's coming down here. And now they're like, you know what? Like, and so there's buy pressure in this area right now. There just is. You know what I mean? There's buy pressure right around here. And everyone's also waiting for 25.2. But I keep pointing out that the weekly is 24,300. So if we go past 25.2, everyone's going to say, oh, we go to 20K now, and we go to the CME gap. And I'll be like, no. Let your weekly chart tell you where the bigger resistance is and the bigger support. And we have some nice support here at 25,400. I have this well rehearsed because like it's really been the same. I've been saying the same thing since we got to this third weekly candle. Like I've been basically saying the same exact thing over and over again. I got a little down when we went, but not down, but my vision was like, when we started breaking below this 200 SMA again. It was nice when this was a healthy wake up. Cool little trick, everyone. Right-click this area, hit countdown to bar close. Tells us in 4 days and 2 hours that bar will close. That way you just know when the bars are going to close. It just gives you that information. Shout out to Crypto Billy for the $9.99, baby.
Oh, hey.
I love that dude, man.
Dude,
shout out to Crypto Billy,
man.
man. You're a blessing in this whole space, man. God bless you, brother. I'm going to get you a Hellcat one day. So, and then one other thing so we have some bullish news with the fact that the 21 could be crossing the 200 on the weekly. Even if we do a little bit of a dip, tells me that there's some spice coming our way. Another thing that gets me a little bullish is the 3-day chart. I love the 3-day chart. I really started. I don't even know why. I saw one guy. He's called like 5-day something, and he always does 5-day charts. I don't remember his name. I think I saw it 2 or 3 years ago. So I looked at the 5-day, then I started the 4. I don't really use the 4-day. I don't even know why it's up there, but I have like every day, as you can see. And I like the 3-day though. I nestled in on the 3-day. I started using it a lot for times to get in and out of altcoins that are rallying. I used the coin Caspa on KAS on Max Global because I love Caspa. I got in here, and Caspa is really cool too because it can teach you a lot about fibs. Like I use this also for fib teaching, but like came right down to the golden pocket. Look at that, between the 0.65 and the 0.618, pumped up again, and then you could draw another one from this impulse to here. And where did it go again? It wicked into the golden pocket. Let me kind of clear that away. Right there, it wicked into the golden pocket, the 618, the 0.65. And then you took the macro scale. So I rode Casper up really nicely. It was like in its own bull run. And I did pretty well in the trade. And I didn't sell the exact top. It went all the way to like 44. But I sold somewhere on like in here at about 29 and 30. And then it got me, like, it kind of got into my FOMO, like, I'm going to miss and it's going to run again. And I went to the 3-day chart. I told myself to calm down. And I drew the skeleton of the falling wedge, which is kind of what I do a lot. I project. And I said, you know what, Sam? It did it here. It did it here. I said, now this is a macro idea of what's going to happen. I see us coming back down to the 618, 706 Fibonacci area. And lo and behold, I didn't use my emotions, which would have got me to bought the top. I would have bought the top thinking I would have missed out. And this took 44 days. And so everyone thinks the older I get and the more I trade, the more patience I realize I need. You know what I mean? Like I thought I had it. And now I'm like, I guess I got even more. I mean, my kids have given me that too. I guess,
I'm sure,
so,
yeah.
The cool thing about the 3-day chart is I'm a hidden bullish divergence guy too. That's come in handy for me many, many times. I'm just going to get rid of the moving averages just for a second because they can clutter up the screen a little bit. But so like swing up to swing up, and I see a swing down on the RSI. And, I'm not saying it's a guarantee, but that's starting to tell me whenever I've seen this, about 90% of the time, we make a high higher than the high that's inside of the divergence. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Especially on a bigger time frame. So that's a hidden bullish right there. We have the MACD kind of coming out. We have falling price with falling volume, which tells you that the sellers are beginning to wane more than they were before. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed, but again, that's a narrative that I use a lot when I'm trading, swing trading 4-hour, the daily. So you have falling volume with falling price. You have a hidden bullish divergence. You got a low stochastic that really wants to come back up and start to make a move. And the stochastic's also kind of doing a little bit of like a little shoulder, head, and a right shoulder there. If we make that right shoulder, and I've seen, I know you can put some of these funny little shapes even on oscillators, right?
Yep.
So my bullish scenario is that we can, and we're retesting this 25K area, right? Like pretty nicely. Like, that's exactly what everyone said. I'm going to wait for 25 to, and we retested. I believe we went to like 25.3. Let's see what the lowest this candle went. 25,392. So like, me, that's pretty good, right? That's a pretty good area. So the bearish thing is, do we lose the weekly 200 SMA? Do we close below that? And everyone, like, once that happens, you can go to like the 12 hour, the 22, and you'll see like a bearish retest, and then you'll probably make a bear flag on the 4-hour time frame. Everyone tries to make these huge predictions, like we go to 27, then we're going down to 25, and then we're going to 19, and like they come on my channel and say that stuff, and I'll say like, okay, like we'll make a bear flag at that point, and we'll bearishly retest a fib, or we'll bearishly retest a moving average. Like, you don't have to think that far ahead if you do your TA every 5 to 8 hours. Like, you just don't. Like, you'll be surprised here and there by a quick, smooth move, but for the most part, like, you're going to be okay. Like, the TA is going to give you pretty much a hedge on what's happening. Yep. Like last night, we pumped up, and it was pretty obvious to me. We were on the let me see, on my my Binance chart. I use like multiple charts, but on my Binance chart, like we came right up on, and it was the 4-hour. My 4 hour is like a really go-to time frame. And again, the 200 SMA, I'm telling you how well I use it. It's like the more you get to use it, the more it's your friend. Where did we stop? Right here? And we tweezer topped at the 200 SMA, that yellow line, right? Yep. So last night, to my trader group, we were high on the stochastic. We had hit a resistance. And I think I put out an update to the group, and I said, listen, like, this is going to pull back. And I was hoping it would hold this channel, because this channel was very interesting. On the 1 hour, it was like right here, we had bounced, kind of bounced there. And I was hoping, hey, can this hold? Oh, no, right here, resistance, hit resistance. Yeah, and then bounce, a little bit of resistance right there, bounce. So it's crazy. Resistance there, bounce, resistance, bounce. And I was like, okay, like that would be a nice place to hope for a bounce. And once that 4-hour candle started to close below it, that's when I was like, that kind of stinks. You know what I mean? Like, we're not holding the zone. The other idea is that the daily isn't done completely coming down yet. It still kind of could come down, and we're trying to hit the bottom of the channel here. I'm sorry, I have multiple time frame ideas, but I wouldn't be surprised if we had to come back down one more time and hit this area, right? Mm-hmm. What we're hoping for is on a smaller time frame that we make a higher low here. And so, like, this could end up being a cup and handle on the 33-minute time frame. Here's your low, here's your high. We're hoping for some type of divergence and a higher low, which is starting to form right now a little bit. You can see how that's flattening out, and that's a sharp downtrend. For me, I got to see us hold like a nice 4-hour, hopefully a daily above 26.6. Like, this green bar, as you can see, is substantial. We do that, then we can come for this second green bar. It's been hard to get above. They faked us out here, but in my mind, what I saw too was a little bit of an Adam and Eve double top. You see that? And so boom, and then that had, the measured move was the lane there, and it's kind of how we went, and then we started to fall off to the downside. So I see some bullishness. I see some bearishness. I still kind of am more bullish than bearish at this moment in time until Sunday night when we see that weekly candle close. You know what I mean? And I expect volatility too in the market. Also, the Fed, right? Let's switch over to the Fed and what the Fed's doing. They're going to fill the TGA, right? Which is the Treasury General Account, right? When they fill the TGA, they're going to take a lot of money out of other places that they've been quantitative easing, and it's going to feel like quantitative tightening. That's just what it's going to feel like. If the Fed raises rates as they do that, it's kind of like raising rates 2 times in a row in the same month. And what that could do is make them look really stupid when they raise the rates, right? So they may have to front run. They may have to play games here, and they may not be able to raise rates. You get what I'm saying? And this could create something really interesting, because that'll get the S&P spiked. That'll get tech stocks up. That'll get all those risk on assets a little excited, and then boom. And what I found today on the daily, on the dollar, and I just found this today, I was really looking at it. I said, man, there's hidden bearish divergence, right? Hidden bearish divergence is when the price swings down on price action, but it swings it swings up here on the RSI, right? So the RSI kind of has this uptrend, but the price has a downtrend on it, right? And the dollar index, it has an Adam and Eve double bottom, which, I'm not really, I love trading them. So I'm like, that kind of, but it didn't make a low. Like, this low is lower than that low. And we're closing multiple daily candles, 22-hour candles here below this zone, which tells me that this is a rejection point for the dollar, and it could start to slip down. So show me the charts and I'll show you the news. I was able to call a bottom on the S&P in October. It's funny, a guy was next to me on the plane, and I could tell he was into equities. and I was just coming home from I think I was flying to I was flying back from Vegas, and I said, man, I see a reversal on the S&P. Again, how did I call a reversal on the S&P? The same way I'm calling a bottom for Bitcoin is I saw a bullish divergence on the weekly on the S&P. Swing down, swing up on the RSI, right? And I said, that's a bottom. Like, we should get a bounce from that area. We did get a bounce from that area, right? So again, we now have to get above this high, which is 43,042. But there's some things brewing here. And now you're seeing this ascending triangle starting to build up. We have a measured move for possible double top. If we break that, that would be amazing. So I get it. There's some bearish tones out there, right? But we got this hidden bullish on the 3-day chart. We got hidden bearish on the DXY. I have this assumption and hypothesis that they're not going to be able to raise rates. There's a 70% chance at this point. We'll see what happens. If they pivot and they don't raise that rate, and then if one bank goes down in the next 10 days or if something happens to the financial system, which we know they're walking on eggshells right now, like it's just shady business. So, and I don't want to pray for anyone's demise by all means, but, you know, we do need to sacrifice a lamb for the greater good. You know what I mean? So, like we need to see something shake up the banking system. If that happens again and they have to bail out another bank or something happens, and I think that's their plan too. They want to consolidate. You know, this was conspiracy to me 10 years ago. They're going to consolidate all the banks and they're going to try to put it all to like 5 world banks and new world order, right? I mean, the great reset. You know, you have nothing and like it. You know, so
you will own nothing and like it.
Yeah, freaking that guy is a Klingon straight up. So, so you know, I'm seeing some cool stuff going on in the charts. And again, everyone wants an exact answer. I can't give it to you, but I can give you some parameters and some cool, interesting things that maybe some other charters haven't seen. And you know, I know I got a lot of spaghetti out there, but that's why I brought the sauce. But you know, all my lines and stuff. But I hope people can see what I'm conveying, and get a little and get some knowledge from what I'm putting out there. And yeah, that's basically everything, Frankie, man. That's like all I can throw out there, and that's the paint on the wall, you know?
Yeah, I love it. Now, let me just mute myself real quick so I don't have my echo. Yeah. Dude, that was absolutely that was like more than one pot of sauce. That was like 2, 3, 4 pots of sauce. Guys, smash that like button if you learned anything that Lifer just spoke about. If you learned anything throughout all that, please hit that like button. Yeah, absolutely spitting the sauce, Lifer. Now, you said a lot of really, really interesting stuff, and I kind of want to touch on it. You said building a story. Now, this is something I was talking about on my live stream, or actually, no, I think I mentioned this in my Discord this afternoon. Building a story, right? Because we see one thing that makes us look bullish, and then we're looking at 4 other things that may agree with that. And I was talking about how it's not about finding that one signal to go long, right? It's about, like you were just saying, building a story. You have, you know, if you have a bullish divergence, right, or you're holding above a key level, right, and then you see, you know, whatever your other bullish signals are, and then, like you said, the DXY, that's something that we check a lot here as well. You know, you see the DXY is about to dump, and there's 2 or 3 other bullish confirmations on Bitcoin. It's that whole story that, you know, I was saying in the Discord, like, it's the combination of all these things to build a narrative, and that's what builds sentiment, right? And that's at least how I pick, you know, my sentiment for the day, for the week. And that kind of leads me into the second thing that you said that was super super important, I think, to say. And that is, you mentioned, because I talk about this all the time, you know, people say, are we bullish or are we bearish? And then, you know, you say you're bullish on the weekly, but you're bearish on the 4-hour. And people are like, well, what the heck? You're bullish and you're bearish. And it's really funny because they say it like, haha, got you. You were bullish yesterday and now you're bearish. And like,
oh, yeah, they love that.
They
love
you
that.
doing something like they like, oh, I got you. But it is just the name of the game. And it's something that I struggle with a lot because it is really hard. Like when someone says, like, is it going up or down? Like, and I've been saying this recently, like, do you mean over the next day, over the next week? Because I could be bullish on for the end of the day and then bearish on the week, and that's just the way it works, right? So I think that's really important for people to realize, because I think everyone's searching for that yes or no, the up or the down, the 1 or the 0, and that's just simply not how it works, because it's so important. You know, context is so important, and just on top of that, just all the stuff that you were looking at, you mentioned 24. Some of the key levels that you mentioned are almost the exact same key levels that we're looking at, but and I always say this when we have people on the show, for completely different reasons. Like the way you got your level is completely different to how we got our level. So it's like seeing you having the same levels found a completely different way make me feel even better about our levels, because it's like, one of the levels I'm looking at might be a value area high, but you're seeing it as like a weekly support, and it's like, okay, well, there's confluence right there. It must be a pretty important level, and so it's just really interesting. And I do have one more question, chart related. Somebody asked me on the BitBoy Crypto show this morning what I thought about the head and shoulders on the inverse head and shoulders on the 4 hour. And I basically responded like, I'm not a huge pattern trader, but let me check it out. And every time I think of a cup and handle or anything like that, I'm like, Lifer is the expert, the patterns expert. And so I'm curious, do you see the inverse head and shoulders on the 4 hour? And if so, is it looking saucy? Is it looking not so good? What do you think?
Yeah, I think maybe the same person came to my stream, because I think towards the end of my stream, someone asked me today, and I was like, I believe he's going for this, right?
Yeah, I think so.
You know what I mean?
I saw.
Anything could happen. These patterns are mixed and different. I see a cup and handle. You know what I mean? And only reason why I see a cup and handle and not an inverted head and shoulder is usually this would kind of stretch a little flatter and then come down a little bit. You know what I mean? But I'm not trying to say I'm the wizard of all patterns and it has to be a certain way. You know what I mean? If this kind of bounces up and down and starts kind of making more of a lateral idea, right? And that just goes to the support and resistance. I noticed this, what you just said is awesome, because I remember when I first started trading, I had a buddy that was heavy into fibs before I was like pretty into fibs, and I was just support or resistance, right? Yep. And then I got into the VRVP, and then I had someone that called it order blocks, and he's like, it's the order block. It's the bullish order block. It's all about the order block. And I was like, and I looked at him one day and I was like, your order block is my point of control. Like, you know what I mean? And I was like, your order block is the same area as this resistance, you know? So when you have millions of traders out there and they're doing algorithms and using bots and doing all these different things, you got one guy that's doing support and resistance his whole life, and he's trading on that. You have another guy that's drawing a fib, and and a lot of times that you look for, a coincidence in trading, right? So like you'll see the 618 will coincide with a point of control, and what I also learned was traders have nowhere to go, so they look left, right? Yep. So you'll look left and a trader will set support or resistance. They'll buy and sell off that area. Another trader that never learned support and resistance properly, or doesn't, maybe not even he did learn it, but it wasn't his forte, and he's trading only fib levels, right? He's just on his fibs. Whatever your mind starts to see, and what happens is the whole market's trading the same levels, but 5 guys are seeing it on a fib, or 500 people, 500,000, another million people are seeing it on. And I've learned that support and resistance is fib. Fib is support and resistance. And my gift was I was able to kind of transcend through all of them and realize, oh, this guy's using that, I'm using that, he's using that. So it had to form a little bit more for me. I see what he's saying, though it can happen. I mean, that could be the beginning of a right shoulder right there for sure. I believe that's what he's talking about. I mean, that's a beautiful shoulder and a head. Like if I hadn't, but it's a little sharper for me. I'd need to see this kind of come up and maybe go sideways a little more, and then it will kind of look like a right shoulder. Gotcha. One last thing that I want to discuss that I wanted to bring up that I forgot to say, and this happened to me a few times. I was waiting for like Bitcoin to break a key level, or actually this is what it was. I was waiting for this is the total market cap. I look at this like every other day or every day at least. And the total market cap to me, super important, right? It's basically all of cryptocurrency. And right now we're sitting at about $1.06 trillion. We lose the $1 trillion level. That's definitely psychological. We're likely to drop down to this big point of control here at 894 billion, right? Sad to say. But what I do see is, yes, Bitcoin broke below, but look, the weekly on the total did not break below the 200 SMA right now. It's actually above it. And I've done 2 things in my life. One time, the total was in a pattern and Bitcoin was in a pattern, and Bitcoin broke out, but the total didn't break out. And I said, man, if Bitcoin broke the level, like actually it was, I think it might've been here. Like, see how like we had this high that we were all waiting to break. Bitcoin broke the high first before the total market cap did, because other coins kind of had to follow through. Mm-hmm. And so once Bitcoin got above it, I said, well, the total market cap's going to break above it too. And lo and behold, a week or 2 later, or sometimes it's 6 or 7 days later, the total market cap followed. Here we see that the total market cap is still let me get this green zone and get rid of this line, but it's still above the 200 SMA, that yellow line. Mm-hmm. So now I'm like, okay, Bitcoin can dolphin dip below it a little bit, but if the total market cap can stay above it, and so I'm looking at the total market cap in a cup and handle in this upward trending channel, right? And again, remember, I'm a very simple guy. Like as much as I do see like all this stuff, and I do simplify it for myself, because that's when I see that's when it kind of comes out at me, and I see a low, a high, a higher low, a higher high. We're holding a higher low. That's a beautiful uptrend, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't see me turn completely sour until I saw a weekly candle close below here on the total market cap, right? We might get that dip on Bitcoin, whatever, get bought back up. Then you can see that money flow back into some alts, and then that will patch up the total market cap. So I'm you know, and again, another cool thing is stochastics RSI and momentum. If I take away everything else and we just look at price action and the stochastics RSI here, and this was really interesting to me. You're at the dotted line. So you're at the top of the dotted line here, and you come from the dotted line of Stokes to the bottom of the Stokes.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure everyone can see that. Yeah, okay. Before, sometimes it used to be hidden, and I don't want that to be hidden. And what happens is that move was a magnanimous move for the Bears, right? And what I also like to say is like relative strength index. So I always like make this metaphor to being in the gym. So like the Bears were able to lift 280 pounds, 300 pounds. They were bench pressing hard, right? And then again, Stokes from the dotted line to the dotted line, the Bears were still going hard, 300 pound, you know, they're squatting big, you know? And then we went from dotted line here, and like, what happened to the Bears? Like, they didn't rush us down to 12K or 10K. They seemed to be kind of, and then we went from dotted line here, and it's like a Sally move. Like, they can barely pick up a 100-pound weight. So I'm seeing the Bears lose momentum, hands down, just by when I juxtapose price action to momentum indicator, which is something that's like just like my brain does that. It's just something that I started to pick out, which is kind of unique. It's, and that's when I realized I was like, I have a knack for this, for just seeing what other people may miss. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so the weekly staying above the total market cap here too. We dolphin dip below it on Bitcoin, and look how it's almost showing. It's almost like coincides with this like diagonal support line too, which is very interesting. So I'm seeing some bullish signs, you know. And again, Fed meeting everybody June 14th is coming, right? Yeah. June 14th is coming. That's going to be a big deal. Like, I hate to say that we're on the cusp, you know, the whims of them, but you know, if they don't raise that interest rate, that's going to be the first time. And then they can't come the next time and try to ramp it up. Maybe they like, if they have to, then they'll have to kind of come on in with their tail between their legs and then go up 0.25. Like, they're trying to make it look like they know what's happening. We all know they have no clue. I swear on you, I promise almost everyone in this show, they will never get to 2% inflation. That's like a dog you can't train, and you keep saying like, next week he's gonna learn how to sit. Yeah. Like, you're like, no, man, you're just saying that. Like, you're never gonna get the dog to do that. So like, they're never getting to 2%. They've printed too much money. Like, and study history, like they've printed I think 60 or 70% of the money supply in the last 3 years or something. Like, that's insane. Like, since that's 2020. Like, and then they just got rid of the debt ceiling altogether. Like, just throw it out the window. We'll deal with that in 2025 because we don't want to have to deal with it now. So there's a lot in our favor, everybody. You know, I consider, you know, again, the attacks on crypto as a strong point for us. I have this good buddy, and I said, you know, some things will happen to me. Like, I was like, this guy came at me, or this happened, you know, and he's an older dude, and I looked at him for mentorship, and he goes, yeah, Sam. He goes, you're not a stick in the mud. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, they wouldn't bother you if you were just a stick in the mud. He's like, do you want to be a stick in the mud, or you want to be Sam Price? And I'm like, well, I want to be me. He's like, so there you go. He's like, you're going to have to deal with it, man. It's going to come your way if you're not a stick in the mud. So, like, crypto is not a stick in the mud. It's not like everything else that we've seen. So it's going to rustle their feathers. It's a disruptor. They're going to do everything they can to try to keep the genie in the bottle. But we got this. We got a halving coming up. I'm super bullish on the overall market in general, you know?
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, I put a video out. I don't know if you saw it on my channel on last weekend, kind of basically talking about, you know, the overall sentiment of the market, like where are we in the cycle? And I'll be honest, I was bullish going into the video. And then as I was going over all like the 5 top reasons why I was super bullish on this bear market essentially wrapping up, and at the end of the video, I was like even more bullish. I was like, man, this like really does look good. And I'm looking at a lot of really similar things. That weekly, that 200 weekly moving average is kind of what I am looking at to, you know, maintain my bullishness, or if we start closing weekly candles below it, I do think, right, like we could get that pulled down, but again, you know, as long as we don't break that uptrend with those higher lows and the higher highs on the weekly, that is another thing I'm looking at. But really, that 200-week moving average, even if we get a pull down, if we can close those weekly candles above that 200-week moving average, I feel really good. Yeah, praying for it. And then if we do lose it again, my eyes are immediately going to shift to that uptrend. Right, we make that first lower low, we break the structure. That's kind of where I'd be like, okay, maybe we go fill that CME gap at 20K. or maybe even lower.
I want to point out what you just said is you started waiting for the charts to tell you what was going on, right? Like you had somewhat of a bullish idea, and then as you kept going, the charts led you to your decision, right? Yep. It's like a guy who goes outside in a rain suit because he feels like it's going to rain. That's when you're trading emotions. Like, no, do you see cumulus nimbus clouds? Is it dark? Do you hear a little rumble? Right. Like, you know what I mean? Can you smell the air? You know, that rain smell? It's like, yes, man. And so you don't want to go into these things telling yourself what the charts are going to tell you. You clear your slate. And so you went in being like, oh, I think things look somewhat bullish. I looked at this. And then as you got deeper, same thing with me. I just found that hidden bullish on the 3-day, I think 2 days ago on the channel, right? And that's what I love about me and you. Like, we're forced, our life is TA every day. We're forced, you're going to be live tomorrow. I'm going to be live tomorrow. That's it. Like, and so tomorrow you're going to see something else. And, and that's the key. That's why people come to your channel. That's why people come to my channel. That's why they love technical analysts, because we're not 100% right. We're not claiming to be magicians, but we do put a lot more time into it than a lot of other people. And hopefully we're going to be able to see something, like we'll be able to see some sentiment or something that's going to lead us to a higher probability than most people can see, man. And I love this, man. Thank you so much for having me. This is exciting. I really like going over the charts with you.
Yeah, of course. It's funny too, because like we're doing a live stream, right? You're providing a ton of value. You're here to provide the value, and it's funny because I just feel like I'm talking to my trading friend, and like this is what I love to do.
This is what me. If you guys weren't here, like this is what me and Frankie would just be doing. You know what I mean? Like this is like, and then we'd be like, hey, what else do we want to talk about now? Let's go get some pizza. You know, like.
100%. I always tell people, like, the reason I really love doing this is because this is what I was doing before I had a YouTube channel. Like, I'm a complete chart nerd. Like, it's just truly what I like to do, as it is, same for you. But let's go ahead. I do want to move on to a couple of questions because we have some really, really good questions from the Candle Mafia, and some of them I'm curious about as well. And the first question is from Darren Does Things. Shout out to Darren Does Things.
I like that name. That's cool.
Actually, yeah, Darren's a man. You kind of touched on this, but he asks what your favorite time frame to trade on is, and this is kind of what I'm curious about. Do you prefer scalp trades, day trades, swing trades, or you kind of bounce back and forth? Do you have a favorite? Kind of what's your style?
My favorite time frame is the one that pays me. But
there you go.
But no, but the in all honesty, my favorite, I'm falling in love with the 3-day chart. I'll be honest. Like, I'm gravitating towards it. But I really like trading. I really like using the 15-minute and the 1 hour in tandem, or the 7-minute and the 15-minute in tandem. A lot of times when I'm swing trading, I'm using the 1 hour and the 4 hour, but I may use the 15-minute to make sure we get above a local level, to give me just that more inspiration or just that probability to jump into the trade. So mainly you're going to see me using the 1 hour and the 4 hour in tandem together. Like for me, if I trade the daily, I get in on the trade on the 4 hour time frame. Like I look for a bullish sentiment on the daily, and then I switch to the 4 hour. And why I do this is because I was trading the 1 hour a lot, right? And I was in a trade, things were going well. And then I opened up a trade and it kind of started to slip a little bit. And I looked at the 1 hour time frame, and I saw that the 1 hour time frame, let's just say, had like low stochastics. Like you wanted to trade this move to the upside, and I had low stochastics. And, for a couple trades went well, and then one trade I got in and I was down. I didn't lose the trade, but I got in and I was down like 5 or 6%. And then eventually I won the trade. Happened again, I was down 5 or 6%. I won the trade. One time I was down, and then I got stopped out. And one of my buddies, a trading person's in a trading group, I said to him, I said, man, this keeps happening to me. He said, you chucked the 15-minute? And I was like, why would I do that? Like, what are you talking about? And I learned, and then I back tested what I did, and I found that 60% of the trades I was getting into, the 15-minute stochastics were high. They were like up above this dotted line. And that's when I learned my system, basically. One of my, I said, oh, the 1 hour looked good, but, the 1 hour could do like a W on the stochastic. So the 1 hour, first, the hill looks nice, and that basically the 15-minute had to come down first. And so I started only getting into trades when I saw like 2 time frames that were both oversold. Then I was like, does this work on the daily to the 4 hour? And I was like, oh. And I was like, does this work on the 3-day and the daily? Oh, and so then I started to learn, don't open trades based, and every once in a while, I teach people this, and some people are like, that's just it's almost like painstaking for them, because they're like, I have to check. I'm like, and I tell them, I don't always do it. Like sometimes, But if I'm using less money, so say I'm on a swing trade $1,000 to $2,000, I might just go to the 4 hour, look at a big local area of support, put my stop loss below it, and just let it go, right? I'm trying to find like an actual, like say I wanted to trade this on the 4 hour time frame, right? And I was looking at it. I might just say, okay, I flip out. And again, I'm always about a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio. If I can't get the 3-to-1, I'm not trading it. Like that's just like a rule of mine. So like I look for my measured move and I'm like, okay, cool. I want to get in on the 4 hour time frame. And I set my target up and I'm like, okay, there we go. Like I could make 7% if we hit the target of the cup and handle, right? Which I've seen happen many, many times. So I have faith in that idea. And then I'm like, oh, where would I hide my stop loss? And my stop loss can be, as long as it's a 3-to-1 on the risk reward ratio side, I can trade that. And so I would look and I'm like, sorry, I'm moving the whole thing. And I would look for this to get to a 3 and be below an area. I might do a 2.82 or a 2.75, but like it's, and again, like I may not even take this trade because I'd rather this stop loss get outside of the bar. But let's just say, okay, we had a bounce here, we had a bounce there, double bottom there. This isn't the best example, but I'm just trying to explain it. So I'd be like, okay, I'll put my stop loss below this green line and I'll get a 4.65 risk reward ratio, right? And boom. And then I won't look at all the other time frames. Yeah. But if I'm trading 10K, like I like to trade $5,000 to $10,000 on a swing trade. And I like to make like, 10% for $1,000 or 8% for $800, like, because I wasn't a huge leverage trader. And a little backstory for me is I put $2,500 into a trade that turned into $800, right? Then I took that $8,000. Then I took the $8,000 and I put it into Canopy Grow Corp when it was like, I was like, basically speculating that the weed companies were going to be big. They were going to legalize it in Massachusetts and New York, and you're going to see it everywhere. And then that panned out. So I already made like 80 grand before I even knew how to really day trade. Like I wasn't like, I was just a speculative trader. Like I just was like, oh, like I'm going to swing that. I looked at the charts a little bit, but I wasn't a chartist. I wasn't an analyst. So like I already become a quote unquote successful trader when I didn't even really know how to actually trade. I'm a good speculator. That's something I'm actually like, I don't know if that's, but like pretty good at like, like I saw Pepe coming out. There was millions of tweets. I made 13 grand off it. And again, if I had just left it, I would have made 40, but I did well on Pepe because I'm like, man, I haven't seen something tweet like this. And I kept saying on my Twitter, I said, I've been on Twitter since 2011. I haven't seen a 5 million tweet. Now it's every day. Like I see BitBoy tweeting to me, and I was like, now I see trends all the time. I see Ben coin, I see all these coins, and I'm like, but like the really first time I ever saw like 5 million tweets, on the right side of my screen while I'm going to bed at night, and I was like rubbing my eyes. I was like, 5 million. I was like, oh, I'm gonna put a couple grand in this because if it loses, so be it. But come on now, like the whole world's talking about it. Yeah. So like I'm not gonna degen all the time, and I'm not really a huge meme coin guy. Like. But now once I made that, and then I took 3 grand and I spread it through meme coins because I already made, I was like, but I kept the 10 aside. I put 5 into Bitcoin, put 5 aside for taxes, and then I sprinkled 3 grand in. I got into Ben token, I got into PsyUp, I got into Loyal, whatever. Like I'm gonna, if I feel like there's a buzz, because you have to remember, I became successful thinking of what a buzz would be and speculating before something happened on a macro level, right? Holding for 2 years too, like 6 grand turned into almost 50, 60,000, but I had to hold it for 2 years straight and just kind of, believe that my speculation, and I began to really believe in my speculation. Like one coin I'm hard in is Casper right now and AGIX. I'm loading up on those coins. Like Casper, I want like 20 grand Casper. Well, actually both. I met the CTO of Casper. Gotcha. Really fell in love with her vision. Saw that she was interesting, really knew what was going on. She may have been the CFO. I think the CTO. I'm pretty sure is the CTO, but she could have been the CFO. But for whatever, she was the representing the company. I liked her pizzazz. I always say to buy a person, not a company. I was super excited about that. So long-winded. I know someone asked me my time frame, but I love trading the 4 hour time frame. But again, like I'll see the 4 hour, and again, I want it to get low. And why I need a 3-to-1 risk reward ratio, which is really interesting. Like if you raise this to a 3-to-1. Because everyone thinks because me and Frankie trade all day, we are 90%, and maybe some people are. I've seen people. I'm not the most, like, I don't have the highest probability rate all the time. I think I'm like a 60, sometimes a 48% trader. Mm-hmm. But the idea is, say we traded this 10 times and we lose it 7 times. 7 times 2.5, right, is about, what, 17.5%? Because 7 times 2 is 3.5, 7 times 2 is 14. So you're looking at like 17.5% losses, right? But if you win this 3 times, you're winning 3 times 7.4, and you could raise that to 2.1 and then to 21. So you're looking at a 23.1. 23.1 is worth more than 17. You'd still be up 6% and you would have only won 3 out of 10 trades, right? So as long as you have proper risk management, like that's one thing that people don't learn. They learn technical analysis really well. They learn support and resistance, and then they don't get into proper risk management. Like, and what I love about it is that's why people laugh at pattern trading. I don't know what people do. That's in my head a little bit, but every once in a while I've heard a snicker like, oh, he's a pattern trader. Ha ha. It's like, but without the pattern trade, I wouldn't have the measured move. I wouldn't have the support and resistance that I'm addicted to. And I wouldn't have this risk reward ratio. So my whole system is based on pattern trading, measured moves, and that happens to come into conjunction with my risk management. So like I couldn't trade without patterns because that's how I build risk, right? That's how I and that's why I'm still alive. That's why I'm still here. And I didn't like bake my account and put my tail between my legs and leave the space. So, and again, and that's why I tell beginners too, like, don't beat yourself up over 4 losses, 5 losses. You know what I mean? You might have your next 3 trades might wipe those losses away. And as long as you use 1% of your portfolio per trade, if you had $10,000, you lose $100 per trade. That doesn't mean you put $100 in the trade. It means you use $100 per trade. And just quick little alpha for anyone out there. Like what I like to do is I use a really easy risk. And this is like, what I teach is risk management, but I would say, hey, you have $10,000, times 0.01 is going to give you $100 or $100, and then, so you can risk $100. So if you were to make this trade, I would take 100 and divide it by the stop loss, which is 0.025. And that could tell me I could put $4,000 in the trade. If the trade goes wrong, I lose 100 back. If the trade goes right, I make the 7%, right? And then you make, whatever, you basically risk $100 to make the 309, whatever, the 300, I guess, times, 7.74. And divided, right? No, $4,000 times 0.0774, right? And hold on, what am I doing here? 10,000 times 0.01. Let me just calm it down because I want people. $100, right? So I put $100 in the trade. That means I would lose $100 every time I trade. I divide this by 0.025. It tells me I can put $4,000 in the trade. And if I win, I'm going to win times it should be 0.07, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm going to win $280, right? Mm-hmm. So if I use $4,000, right, and I either lose $100 or I make $280 or $300, and that's the 3-to-1 risk reward. I didn't add the 7.4, but if you added it, it would have been about $3.390 or $300. So, and that way, you're gonna have to lose 100 trades straight to lose your entire portfolio. Yeah. Yesterday, someone was in my trading group, and he went short when that pump happened, and he was like, "I'm down 20,000," and I was just like, "Why?" Like it buried my heart. I was like, why are you down $20,000? Like I'm worth a good amount of money, and like I don't lose $20,000. Like what are you doing? Like, and he's like, oh, I put $100,000 and I bet on each short. I was just like, oh my god, like you know what I mean? Like, come on, painful. Guys. Like,
I think that's one of the big things that beginners get wrong is they're focused on being right 100% of the time.
I wasn't sharing my screen there, which I thought I was. Sorry about that. Sorry to interrupt.
I
wasn't. I'm such an idiot there. But.
No, you're good. But I think it's a big mistake that beginners make, right? Like they're so focused on trying to be right. They think they have to be right 100% of the time, and they don't understand they're fighting an unwinnable game. Like you're not going to be right 100% of the time. There's no way. And they don't realize that like the real cheat code to trading, at least in my opinion, is your risk management for the exact reason you just showed, right? If you're using a sound risk management strategy and you're following an actual plan, you can set your risk management strategy up where you can lose a majority of your trades and still potentially be like you could have more red trades than green trades, and as long as your green trades are much bigger than your red trades, you're not freaking out like you just said. You shouldn't be losing 20K in a trade, even if you're trading with big money. Like if you're trading with 100K, like you shouldn't be losing 20 grand if you lose that trade. So I think it's a really big beginner mistake that people like. They focus too much on trying to be right all the time, and that's really just not the name of the game, at least in my opinion.
And flip that to a guy who's 75% accurate. Mm-hmm. Well, what if he lost $100 in the first 7 trades, and the last 3 he lost $2,000 each, and he's down $6,000? So like, you could tell me you're a 90% accurate. You won 90% of your trades, but did that last one bury you? You know what I mean? So like, I'd rather be 40% and use proper risk management. You know what I mean? Like, so people, it's like there's a lot of smoke and mirrors in trading. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like you don't have, not only do you not have to be right 100% of the time, you're simply just never going to be right 100% of the time. So yeah, I love that, guys. Risk management over everything. I always tell people trading is not really, it's much more about preserving your capital than trying to hit those grand slam trades. Preserve your money because that's your gas, that's your fuel, that's what you need to make the money. Otherwise, you're going to blow up your account and then either have to pull money out of somewhere else or go physically work to make that, you know, extra money to put back into your account. So risk management.
And if you're new to trading, specifically in this chop and this up and down and like with a lot of fear and stuff, use small amounts like till you get the hang of it. Because when the bull market comes, like it is a little more like fishing, you know, shooting fish in a barrel. Like it's like, you know what I mean? Like as long as we have a good uptrend and there's people pouring into the market and you're there a little bit before them, like you know, sad to say is you could make some mistakes and like you can, you know, always use a stop loss, but you can get away with having a deeper stop loss, or you can get away with being like, oh, I forgot I put that $500 in there, and you come back, oh, it was $2,500. Oh, I still won that trade. You know, it's like, so like preserve your capital when it's going to be a lot less difficult to make money. That's what I tell everyone. Like use this bear market to join his school, join my school, join anyone's school, and try to double $100.
Yeah.
Like, don't beat yours. Like, everyone's like, I'm going to join this trading group and I'm going to start. My worst fear is when I meet someone and they're like, I just lost my job. I hope through your school I can start paying my rent next month. And I'm just like, oh, God, like that sounds like a disaster. Because when this person doesn't hit it right, they're going to be emotionally disturbed. They're going to get beat up. And like, they're going to lose focus on actually educating themselves and learning my system. Like, they're never, I almost know that's like that person probably isn't going to end up learning my system because the pressure on them on paying that rent is just going to be so exorbitant, and they're not going to have the time to procure the skills that they need. And so like use this time, like the halving's coming in a year, basically by the late 2024, like that's when things should start ramping up in October or December. And like, so you got yourself like a year and a half here to learn, you know what I mean? And you're not going to become and if you do become a millionaire overnight or you leverage trade yourself, you're likely to win by the sword, die by the sword. You're likely to lose a lot of it too. So like, there's nothing wrong with inching up. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with just gaining an edge. My dad, God rest his soul, he used to tell me, Sam, life is hard, but if you can get the boat up an inch, he's like, you ever see the old man with a boat trying to get out of the water? He's like, he just pulls it up an inch and then an inch and then an inch. And eventually he gets it up into the beach where the tide can't take it away. You know, like, and he's like, some years are going to be perfect in business. Some years aren't going to be great for your trades. He's like, but as long as you're not losing capital, as long as you're gaining a little more than you had before, you're still in the game for the big bull run coming, and that's when you really capitalize. So, important.
100%. I love that. I love the analogy of pulling the boat up the beach. That's a good way to look at it. And
hey, that's my pops, man.
Yeah, 100%. I always tell people, don't go for the singles and the doubles. Don't go for the home runs. Build slowly. And I always tell people, focus on the percentage. Don't necessarily worry about putting in all your savings and trying to turn that, put your $10,000 you have saved in your account and trying to flip it to 100K, especially if you're inexperienced and especially if you're using leverage. I tell people to stay away from leverage unless you're experienced, right? If you're just learning how to trade, stay on spot. And I tell them, focus on the percentages, right? If you could make 50% or 10% or whatever the number is on $100, it's the same thing with a large amount of money. The only thing that changes is the psychology and the emotion because you're dealing with much more money, right? So the percentages will always be, I always tell people to focus on the percentages. But before we move on to the next question, I do want to touch on, you mentioned, because I talk about this all the time, you mentioned like people snicker at pattern trading, and I see very similar things happen all different ways, right? Pattern traders, people who use indicators, people who use this, people who use that. I know a big community that loves to kind of like look down on people are price action traders that don't use indicators. And they're like, you're an idiot if you use indicators, or you're an idiot if you're not just using price action or what have you. And I always tell people, listen, you have to use what works for you. It's okay if you think using indicators is stupid or you think pattern trading is stupid, but if whatever works for you, right? Like for me, I love my indicators, right? If I didn't have indicators, I would have to figure out a different system, but it works for me. I make money doing it, and they all work, right? Pattern trading works, otherwise no one would pattern trade, right? If pattern trading didn't work, you wouldn't do it. If using indicators didn't work, I wouldn't do it. And same thing with price action trading, right? If you're just looking at the candles, if that didn't work, nobody would do it. Or that didn't work, nobody would do it, right? So I always tell people, do what works for you, right? Like for me, again, I like indicators, right? And for you, it's patterns, and again, for other people, it's just price action. But like for me, price action doesn't really work for me, right? I incorporate it into my TA, but it's not my bread and butter. So what works for one person may not necessarily work for another. So I don't want people out there thinking that if you're not doing what someone else is doing, you're doing it wrong, because that's not necessarily the case.
Well, the thing about me too is I'm price action like the more I learn, the more I do go to the traditional ideas. Like I start with price action. Like if you see me look at a chart, I look at a clean chart with no, I look at the clean price action, no indicators. Like I turn off my moving averages. If anyone says, hey, can you check out this coin? First thing I do is go to the daily with no indicators, and I put my support or resistance, and I check out price action. But like if I see a really nice pattern that looks great, I'm not trading it till the Stokes give me an oversold.
Right.
Most of the time. So like I'm really like I'm a momentum indicator pattern. You almost can't put me in a box. And then I'm hoping that I'm drawing a fib, and then I'd like to wait for it to come to the 618, right? Like Casper, I didn't want to touch it till it got into the golden pocket in that 706 area. Like no matter what the indicator said to me, I wanted to see the fibs teach. So like you kind of like, and I'm probably still, it's like you can't even, my subconscious mind is making these fast decisions that it's not really your frontal cortex. It's all happening so fast that like, and that's what you can't really convey to beginner traders. Like they want that sauce. They want your sauce. And you're like, I can't give you my sauce because I don't even know what my brain's doing. Like I just fed my brain so much information over time. And at one point, when everything aligns, it gives me this, oh, that's likely to happen. And then I go for it. And again, we're not 100%. It's all trading is simply using a set of indicators and situations to give you a higher probability of what may or may not occur. Like it's just simply put that I can put it as,
Yeah. It's a game of probabilities. Like when they asked me about the inverse head and shoulders on the 4-hour this morning on the BitBoy crypto stream, I was like, I'm not the biggest pattern trader. I do see it, but if it does complete, I would need to see the indicators roll back up, right? Like I will trade that, but I got to see the other things come back up. I got to see this. Hopefully we're,
like you'd like to see that blue wave higher than the other wave. Cause I did market cypher for like a year enough. Like I didn't, and can I get the green dot? Like, can I get some other confluence involved here that you use every day, right? Like your brain is waiting for your subconscious tells that you've built into your head now. That's happening while you're sleeping at night. Your brain's you wake, you don't even remember. I call them the aha moments. Like, you had your basically your pot of sauce and you had all the ingredients, but one day you were like, no, it's the garlic, right? Nope, it's this. Like there's a certain set thing that finally gives you the final go ahead, and you're not going. Like I might sit here and tell you I'm bullish, I love all these things, and you look at me and you're like, Sam wants to trade that, but like I can't enter until I see my set of parameters. You know what I mean? And like
100%.
You could show me all your stuff, and I'm like, I like what Frankie's saying, but like the Stokes aren't low enough, and I might miss the move. You know what I mean? I might miss the move that you hit. You might miss the move that I hit, but like I have to trade my style. Like, you know what I mean?
100%.
And there's really and you can get good at anything that you do over and over again. If all you do is price action all day long, you'll eventually be pretty good at it. The human mind is set to be good at things that you do over and over and over and over again. So just pick something and just start doing it all the time, and you'll find your niche. You'll find your space somewhere in that little pocket.
100%. Now, speaking actually of indicators, I have a question just straight from me. A lot of people are looking at the MACD on the weekly. There's a bearish cross. And everybody's like, oh, my God, there's a bearish cross on the weekly. This could be really bad. And now I see it, but I also see on Market Cypher, the weekly's actually looking like it wants to come back up. I'm curious to see what you think about the bearish cross on the MACD.
Great question, because this is when I really evolved as a trader. Because, again, I grew up swing trading KuCoin, altcoins on KuCoin. Like that's like kind of like that was the main group I was in. We were just trading altcoins all day long on KuCoin, right? Like I didn't really trade Bitcoin a lot of times. Now I trade Bitcoin a lot more because it works the best with your you know what I mean? It seems to work the best. Like I think you can agree with that. Like once you trade
100%.
everything, it's like it's got the volume. It tends to do a little more of what it should do. And you know, altcoins are a little less predictable. But I grew up trading, and I started a back test. And what I found was worse. And again, there's a video on I think someone made a video on this, and I concur with it. MACD, worst indicator to use by itself, like absolute worst indicator. And again, I'm going to teach you guys something really interesting right now. You are asking like amazing questions, by the way. Like,
thank you.
God bless you, man.
You're
like,
giving amazing answers.
I didn't know that this was gonna like. I didn't know this was gonna be like. I knew this was gonna be amazing, but like you're blowing me away, bro. Like this is like you put a lot of effort, time, thought. Like this is like I'm impressed by your interview ability, man. This is like it's awesome. I'm like you're getting me excited to answer the questions because like. A challenge is great for an analyst. So
I appreciate
here's the deal. No, I'm being dead honest though, like because you're like I love it. Like I'm just excited. So you got that energy like me, man. I don't know. You must be a fire sign, like a Sagittarius or something. I don't know what,
Taurus.
but Taurus, yeah. I'm the Aries Ram. You're the Bull, man. We go together. We like to ram it. We like to just push it down. So here's the deal. The MACD, worst indicator to use by itself. And I'll tell you why. I'm trying to find some examples. Like I'm going to try to scan like an altcoin somewhere here. Let's look at an altcoin that trades a lot, like Atom, right? Something like that.
Love Atom. Atom's one of my favorite coins to trade.
So let's take a look here, right? Right here. Here's a great example. Dude, we just found like the perfect example. Oh my God. Like this is unbelievable. No, this is going to blow people's minds. And guys, this took me years to figure out. So you're getting so much good alpha tonight. So look at this. Okay. And I love this blue line theory. I put a blue line. So I put a space between the blue line. And the reason why I'm putting the space is because I want us to identify this area. Why I like making vertical blue lines is, look, if we switch down from the 12-hour to the daily, those lines still stay. So, like, you can kind of, like, you can backtest theories that matter by switching time frames, and then you can still kind of go back to that same time frame. I learned so much doing this. You know what I mean? Just, like, simply just understanding this concept. So I made an accidental blue line there. So here's the deal. Here's the MACD looking a lot like Bitcoin right now. Everyone can agree? Like, let's go to Bitcoin on that weekly, like you said. All right. The blue line's about to cross. I'll tell you what, though. I see, the blue line did cross, right? It looks somewhat bearish. It's like, oh, that's no good, right? Oh, no, gives you that feeling. Same thing here. You could say, fine, this one hadn't crossed yet on Atom, but it was coming down. And, if we were to go back in time to that area, we would have said, oh, that's about to have a cross. It's super high in the MACD. It's, and look, even this did have a cross. So let's just say this was this one, like, oh, there's a MACD cross on Atom on the daily, which is like Bitcoin on the weekly because it's a smaller coin and the daily's hard, right? Mm-hmm. And so you're like, oh, but look at this one. Like, we could go back in time here. I love the replay tool too. Replay tool is my buddy.
Oh my God.
It's my friend. It's so amazing. And like, we could play in there a little bit. And so, like, if I could trap it exactly at that point, but like, if you could kind of go here and look at this way and be like, all right, that was about to cross. Everyone would have been bearish on there that just trades the MACD alone. But I backtested the MACD with the stochastics. And to my students, if you ever like hear me in my beginner's course, I'll be like, I backtested it. The stochastics trump the MACD 90% of the time. And that's why once I found the stochastics RSI, I almost care not what the MACD does. Like, I don't listen to it. Believe me, I use it for other ideas. Like, if I was going to get into this trade, I would like to get into this trade because the MACD was so small there. The histogram tells me there's a lack of bearish momentum. It tells me that we're likely to get a push up. Back here, so the MACD wanted to cross, but the Stokes were oversold. You see that? And what happened? Atom went up, dude. Atom ripped, right? Yep. And the MACD just kind of, you have to remember, I'm also a huge EMA trader, moving average trader. I don't get into trades till I see tight moving averages. Mm-hmm. I get out of trades when I see the 21 and the 200 starting to get far apart. And you could trade this on any time frame, on any asset in the world. Look, time to get in Atom here was when the moving averages were tight. I coincide that with a pattern. So if I find a nice pattern wedged in, lack of bearish momentum in the MACD, if I can get bullish divergence too, or some type of divergence and low stochastics, oh man, like that's my sauce. Like, I'm giving it away. I mean, that's what I go for, right? And then once I see the 21 and the 200 start to get far apart and the price action get away from the 21, I know we're in trouble. Like, it's no good. So I look at these parameters, and so when I look at what we're talking about here, this idea on Atom, or just what they're saying about, and again, moving averages, right? This is going to blow your mind. Moving averages. what is the MACD? It's moving averages, convergence, divergence. I always say con in Spanish means to come with, right? So convergence means the moving averages are getting tight. Divergence means the moving averages are pulling apart. All the MACD, the guy who created the MACD is he took standard deviations of moving averages and he basically kind of set up some, and then he set up the volume and the histogram in the middle. He used the 12 and the 26 day combined in a 9-day EMA. That's what the red line is. So I figured out how the guy created the MACD, which I used to call it the MACD. Right. Now I could like back engineer it, right? And I did it with the moving averages. So I always teach them together. So whenever I see that the MACD is going to give a somewhat of a bearish sign, I look to see kind of what the moving averages are doing. And like, look right there, the moving averages are super close and tight together, right? And the stochastics were low. Price will pump and then it will flip. Again, the MACD is a latent indicator. It's not a leading indicator. Stochastics is far more of a leading indicator than the MACD, right? So I'm going to use a leading indicator over a latent indicator every time. And so, you know, again, a long-winded answer, but I'm trying to give as much backstory as I can to make it make sense. So these stochastics were low. Adam pumped anyway. So we go to Bitcoin on that weekly, and we're low on the stochastics. Now, it tells me we may get a little bit of a drop here. Like we may do something like this. But, you know, now I'll tell you what. If the stochastics and the MACD are both high, like had we stayed up here and done something like this, and then I saw that happening, oh, like here, that's no good. Stochastics and MACD both coming down with the RSI. But when I see the RSI below the dotted line, and I see it in a flag, I like to put the RSI in a flag. So when I see the RSI in a flag, making sure I was like, am I showing my screen? I was like, I've done this.
Oh my God, it's the worst.
And everyone's like, Sam, we haven't seen your screen in an hour, you freaking moron. I'm like, Jesus. I'm like, guys, I'm really good at this. I swear. Like, I know how to stream. Like, because some people go to your stream every day. Hopefully there's someone that's never seen you. And they're like, this guy's a clown. You know?
Right. Yeah. My worst is when I do a pre-recorded video and I finish the entire video. And then
never recorded it at all, right?
God.
Or I've done it when I've never hit the record button.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I've done like I've dived in and I'm like, I looked at my wife one day and I'm like, I gotta go do this like 30-minute video all over again. And like, I don't even know if I can recreate like what I was doing here. Like,
it takes so much energy.
It does, man.
It's
like, because you're going through your brain, your subconscious mind, fishing for all these little details that you're giving people that you've picked up. So like, because these stokes are low, and again, watch this dump and everyone will laugh at me, but I have back tested this over time. The stokes will trump the MACD. Period. That's what I found. You know what I mean? Yep. When they're all coinciding, that's when I'm a little more worried. Like, or not worried. I don't like using that word, but that's when I get more concerned or I get ready for a short. You know what I mean? So I see this cross, and it did actually cross, but let's see what happens on this hill. What I'd like to see is the weekly make a very small hill, a very small red hill, which will, to me, will be lack of bearish momentum. So like maybe we go up and down, up and down, up and down. We may go a little lower than that 200 SMA. And that whole time, this total may never go below the 200 SMA. Keep watching this total. You know what I mean? Keep total in your back pocket no matter what you see Bitcoin doing, because that's the total market cap of all of cryptocurrency. Money could be flowing into some alts that are getting us excited that could kind of, people might sell those alts back into Bitcoin, right? Then Bitcoin might pump. So you want to keep the total market cap in your back pocket at all times. So yeah, to me, I use stochastics and RSI are signals far more than I look at a MACD signal, right? MACD signals to me are for like the 2-week, the big time charts. Like look when we got across there on the MACD. But again, that was good for me because we were low on the stokes, told me to get in. Low on the RSI, told me to get in. And then as we started to pump, look, the MACD didn't cross till we were halfway through the move. It's a latent indicator. Once I learned that and I didn't have these, I used to front run the cross. Dude, like that was my trading style like 6-7 years ago. I would front run the, so like I would wait for the line to almost cross. You know how many times the line crossed a little bit, came back down again? You know how many times we almost crossed and then we dumped and I kept getting stopped out? Thank God for RSI, divergence, and stochastics. Once I added those two tools to my trading, oh my God, like it's like nightmarish. Like, and I wasn't that bad at it. Like I would win some trades, but there was just no method to my madness because I was using a latent indicator that got pushed and pulled by price action, and I was waiting for it to tell me what to happen, and I wasn't using a leading indicator. So like, MACD is the worst indicator to use by itself. Yeah, like don't just I use it for confluence with other parts of my trading style, and mainly to see the histogram. I want to see how much volume is compared to the other. One cool, real quick way that I used that, and this is how I learned how to trade it, was the 4-hour time frame when Bitcoin had these falling wedges. I always remember these falling wedges here. And so, and this is really cool thing to do, and you can use this basically for the rest of your life to chart other indicators. So like once you know one thing that worked, like right here, I knew that falling wedges broke up to the upside 68% of the time. So you got 3 falling wedges, right? And this is how I use the MACD. And then I know when moving averages are tight, we're likely to pump. So I got 2 signs of confluence there, right? Boom, ready to rock, right? And then what I do is I put I put that blue line where I believe, I would like to enter. And then I kind of look at the MACD to see if I see anything, if I see any confluence or coincidental or a pattern. Really, I'm identifying a pattern scientifically, really, right, over time. So then you double click the MACD and look at this, all right, and you'll find, which is mind blowing. So come on, you double click any indicator and it should show you the whole indicator. If hold on, let me move this up. Bear with me, everybody. I'm really an analyst. I swear, I didn't just stay at Holiday Inn.
I feel like that all the time when I can't figure out what I'm clicking. I'm like, I swear I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's why I'm not clicking the MACD. But look what you'll see here. And again, this goes to remember when I was talking about a weightlifter, how the Bears were in control, then they were in control. So look, the Bears in control, huge red hill. Bears in control, pretty hefty hill. But here, what happened? Yeah, we got a MACD cross, but that hill is tiny. That tells me there's lack of sell pressure. There's lack of they don't have a lot of power. I go in here, lack of sell pressure. I go in here. The hill's smaller than the last 3 hills. So, again, I wouldn't just go in when I see a small hill, but if I see tight moving averages, a falling wedge, and then low stochastics and the RSI in a good spot below 50, I don't always go for the RSI at the dotted line. That's the good on a macro scale, but if I'm swing trading the 4-hour, it just has to be below 50. So that's one of my prerequisites. And, again, for me to make all my greatest trades, the stochastics were low and ready to rock, right? They were bending and coming back up on the move. So I actually right now, I have an alert on the stochastics. I put alert on the stochastics. I don't want to stare at charts all day long, but I know where I like to get in. So I set alerts a lot. And I'm one of the first people I know to start putting alerts on the stochastics RSI. I just started doing it one day. And so like right now, I got an alert waiting here. When the stochastics reset and hit that alert, that's probably going to be a good time for me to jump on into a long swing. You know what I mean? And until then, and I may miss. Sometimes I miss the move because the alert never hits. That's okay with me. That's like, setting your trap for something that you really want. And the animal or the fish or whatever it is, because I don't like trapping animals, but I'm trying to use an example is, I don't want Pettit calling us up today. Yeah, right. But, like Pete Davidson went in.
PETA has entered the chat.
Yeah. So So I'd rather miss something that doesn't fit my ruling, right, than chase something that doesn't fit my ruling, if that,
Dude, I could not agree more. Actually, yesterday was a perfect example for me with my premium Discord. I put up a long setup, and by the time I posted it in the Discord, I like to post into the Discord first, and then I'll get into my position. And by the time I put it in the Discord, we got a little bit of a move, and I was like, I'm going to wait for a retracement to get a better entry. And I didn't get the retracement, and I didn't enter, and I missed that whole pump to the upside. And I told everybody, I was like, guys, I missed my entry, but I will sit on my hands. Yes, I feel the FOMO. Yes, I'm mad I missed the move, but I'm going to sit on my hands. There's going to be another setup, and now we caught the short. So I just sat on my hands. I waited for price to come up. I watched it go. Yes, it was very, very sad, but I just waited to hit the resistance level we were looking for, wait for the confirmations, and now I'm in the short position on the way down, and I didn't get wrecked buying the top. So I think it's important, and back to the MACD, I'm a big divergence guy, and obviously you can find divergences on many different things. I use Market Cipher B. You can find them on, obviously RSI, and some people use the MACD, and I simply, it just through my experience of looking at divergences, same thing, MACD, garbage for trying to find
so whack,
so whack, dude. It's like it feels like it's like an outdated indicator or something. I don't know what it is, but it's funny that you have the same experience because just looking at divergences, I found the same thing. I don't even pay attention to them anymore. But again, when used with, in confluence with other things, it could add some extra insight into your decisions. But so let's go ahead. I think we have one more question. Let me see. It's actually funny. There was a question about the MACD. You just answered it without even.
So we got you, buddy. We got you.
We got you. It's covered. But
it's whack.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We got you covered. Update on the MACD. Delete it. But this question comes from Harry Heck, and he says, and I'm curious. I think I know where you stand on this, but I'd like to hear what your thoughts are. Is Bitcoin going to new lows? And if not, why? What is your kind of reasoning why you wouldn't think it would go to lower lows? Or would?
I mean, I figured I answered that right with the weekly.
Yeah.
When I showed you the weekly bullish divergence, like,
Yep.
I'll be very surprised. Like, and again, I'll have to eat my sock, I guess. But like Jordan Cameron. But I'll be surprised. I really will be if we make a new low. With the amount of money they've printed, with the amount of people waking up around the world, with Hong Kong coming out and making new exchanges and giving that move, you can see the U.S. is dropping the ball, right? They should have had regulation. We should be clean cut. There should be new coins coming out. People should be making, like, Silicon Valley should be called Crypto Valley right now.
Yeah.
We should be, you know what I mean? We should be at the forefront. People should be flying in, meeting, we should be the hub right now. New York City should be having crypto weekend each week. We should be the place to be, like we always have been, for innovation in business. And I feel disgraced by the regulators. I feel absolutely ashamed, really, that we're not at the forefront like we always are. It's sad that it's the greed of control, and they don't realize that through greed and control, you actually lose control, right? And so other countries are seeing this. They're going to pick up the slack. Bitcoin is not just a U.S. entity or like a U.S. asset. It's a world asset. So FTX collapsed, right? They basically were calling, like, I don't know about you, but like my neighbors were like, isn't that the scammer over there that trades crypto? You know what I mean? It was like, oh God, like what do you do for a living? I was like, oh, I'm trying to do professional soccer next week. It's like, it's like, it's like, for the, I mean, I still pretty held my face up high, but like I wasn't like telling everyone that I was a crypto trader for a couple weeks. You know what I mean? There was definitely like not the coolest thing in the world, right? They're like, oh, that SPF's a scammer, huh? Like that whole story is a bunch of, it's like, ah, man. So, we got completely defamed. Like they tried their best, and all it did was make a buying opportunity for the people that had been waiting for a lower price. You know what I mean? So again, due to these, and again, we'll see what happens with the Fed. If the Fed keeps raising rates, and we see some type of recession, there's a chance we could see the lower low. Like, I'm open-minded. I never say you have to. I read Trading in the Zone as a true professional trader, someone that does it every day. You can never say it has to be this way, because nothing has to be anyway. Like, I love when a beginner trader says it can't go any lower, and I'm always like, oh, it can. Yeah, it can always go lower.
Louder
so
for the people in the back.
Yeah, what I do is I break down the data, right? Like I went through oil, I went through Dow Jones, I went through Tesla, I went through Bitcoin, 4 major assets that have a pretty big long-standing chart. And I could throw some more in there. Like we could probably do, crude, we could do corn, we could do, potatoes, yeah. And bat dropping futures, but we could do anything, right? And again, you will not see a weekly bullish divergence, and you can hold me to this, and you can be like, wow, this guy has done his sauce. Like he's definitely spent hours in the chart till his hand hurt on the mouse. So, I say there's a 95% chance, due to my hours and hours of analyzing, that we will not go any lower. We might fill the CME gap down there at 20,008. And maybe we get a crazy capitulation wick to 19K. I don't believe that even 17.5 is viable. But again, I don't like using the word believe, feel, or think.
Yep.
I don't know where price is going to go. I know nothing but the fact of my own ignorance. I'll be honest with that. But the data conveys to me that we will not make a lower low.
Love it. I'm in the same boat. I do think it's much more likely. Number one of the biggest things that I was looking for the bottom to come in was a weekly bullish divergence. So I'm right in that same boat. I think the fact that we put in that weekly bull div is super convincing that the bottom is in. And between that, what the indicators look like, and just from a timing perspective, looking at the 4-year cycle, I think it is much more likely that the bottom is in and not. But again, like you just said, I am not ignorant to the idea that it is, I don't think it's impossible to go to lower lows. I just, that's my personal opinion, is that it is much more likely than not that the bottom is in. But Lifer, thank you so much for coming on, man. I really appreciate you stopping by, and thank you for spitting the sauce. I love,
one question for you. Would you eat this organic Kirkland sauce, or does it have to be your uncle? Like, would you eat the sauce?
So I'm obligated by my I'm
Am I,
obligated.
sorry, should I not spell the brand? Did we not?
No, I'm obligated by my heritage to not publicly say I will eat jarred sauce.
That's
but
what
no,
I actually wanted to hear that. I was hoping that you would, because I'm Irish, right? Like, what do I know?
no. I will say this. Out of all the jarred sauce, please nobody clip this. I don't really eat jarred sauce, but if I were, Victoria's jarred sauce is actually pretty
We
good.
usually get
I will
that
say
too.
that.
We usually get that with the
pretty
white
good.
label. Yeah.
It
Okay.
is pretty good.
But you don't know what it tastes like. You're just, your friends have told you. You know?
Exactly. Yeah. My other Italian friends that don't care about their culture at all, they've eaten it and told me that it's actually pretty good. So I'm just spreading the knowledge.
In college, I had an Albanian girlfriend, and they eat like Italians a lot of, and every year they would come together in the garage, right, hang out for like a weekend or whatever, and they would make their own sauce and jar all their own sauce, and then she'd have all this fresh jarred sauce for like the rest of the year, and that was just something they did all the time, and so definitely, yeah, you got to make that from scratch, man. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Lifer, before we let you go, I'm going to give you the stage, let everybody know where they could find you, what you got going on, and just leave the people with what they need to hear.
Well, thank you so much for having me, man. So much respect and love for you and all the Candle Mafia. I feel like there's always been a cool little bonding between my community and your community. I think people have gone in between both your group, my group, people, and we have different sauce, right? But at the end of the day, we both make a pizza, right? And so,
absolutely.
And it's a good tasting pizza. So, I really appreciate you asking me questions. I'm honored the fact that you would even care what I think about the charts. I mean, to put your time into something and have people actually care what you have to say about it, I think that's all we want as human beings. So, like, you've made my day, you've made my week, you made my month. I really, really appreciate this more than you would ever know. Meeting you in Miami was amazing. Even Tony and your team and everyone around you. Shout out to everyone in the chat here that's hanging out, that's saying hi, that sat here and got the alpha. And, again, like I say to everyone else, don't try to win every race that you're in. Like, don't try to, we'll try to win all the time, but you know what I mean? Like, don't put pressure on yourself. Like, you have to triple your account overnight. You have to make $100,000 and get out of the situation you're in. Take technical analysis just like college. College took 4 years if you were lucky enough to go and learn something that you wanted. I did the business of TV and film, and I got into television and film, right? So, like, whatever you're doing, take TA as an actual school. Like, it's a school, you know what I mean? And realize that it's going to take 2, 3, maybe 5 years if you're not putting all the time into it, but you're just grabbing as you go. And if you and again, once you have the skill, you'll have it for the rest of your life. Well, it took you 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Don't beat yourself up about all your losses. There's always another trade. What he just mentioned about not chasing was a skill. When he started and when traders first start, a lot of us would have maybe rushed into that trade. You know what I mean? And yeah, that time it may have worked out, but a lot of times it does not. So he waited for his signal when he missed it, and he runs a trading group. Sometimes he may not hit the trade, but he gave it to you. And that's his job, right? His job is to make sure you saw something. Sometimes he might be finishing a setup or a chart, and then you guys are able to get into it. Like he said, he gave it to you guys and then wasn't able to get it for himself because he cared about his group almost more than his own trade. So that dedication is real. That's what I heard from that. That was an honorable move. And to actually come out and talk about it and use it as another teaching tool is why I love Frankie, why I like to be associated with him. So everyone, we got this. Don't live in fear. It's a fake emotion acting real. Do not worry. All right. Worry is also another fake emotion based off FOMO. Either you can do something about it, then why are you worried? If you can't do something about it, then why are you worried? So if you can do something about it, do it and don't worry. And if you can't do something about it, hope for the best, keep yourself positive and keep pushing forward. And love is the strongest frequency. If you love yourself and others around you, you're going to have a good life. And that's all I got to say.
Absolutely. Well, Lifer, thank you so much. And yes, I 100% always curious. I love having you on the show. I love having all our guests on the show because I am curious about what you think, right? We get a big move. I'm always thinking like, we check in on your channel, like, oh, I wonder what Lifer thinks. Like, and this is like my favorite part of the job is having other people on and just seeing like, again, like, you put out your levels and the fact that you're finding levels in a completely different way. I just love comparing the TA. It's super cool. Like I said, we're chart nerds, at the core. So much respect, brother. Much love. love. Thank you so much for coming on, and hopefully we'll have you back on very, very soon. But yeah, thanks a lot, brother. We'll see you soon.
Yo, God bless you, man. Thank you so much. God bless you and your family. God bless all the Bit Squad, everyone over there. And thank you so much for all the opportunities you've all provided for me and for actually giving me a place to have fun and talk about the charts. Have a great night and appreciate it.
Of course. All right, brother. Take care. We'll see you soon, man.
Peace out.
Woo! Let's go, guys. Shout out to Lifer. What a show, guys. Seriously, just dropping that sauce. I love that. Like, let us know what you got going on the charts. And, you know, just sauce after sauce after sauce. I absolutely love it, guys. Don't forget, go to Crypto Lifer's channel right now, but come back to the stream after. But go subscribe to his channel, guys. Smash the like button if you enjoyed that and you got some value. So, yeah, shout out to Crypto Lifer, guys. Go subscribe to his channel. He's, you know, very, very respectable trader. And, yeah, we love having him on the show. And I think our communities do get along really well. I feel like there is a lot of crossover for sure. So, shout out to Lifer. Much love to you, brother. Thank you for coming on. But, guys, I think that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. Let me go ahead and we'll spit. I will do like a little 5 to 10 minute market update here just to give you guys a little bit of an update on what I'm thinking about the local price action. But, you know, there was just so much sauce flying around there. I did not want to cut it short. So, but we will go ahead and jump right into the charts for just a second so I can kind of give you guys an idea of what I'm looking at. Let's go ahead and pull up the charts here. Now, obviously, let's see. Shout out to Crypto Pollo. Appreciate you. Love his stream and how he used the stochastic RSI. Shout out to Lou. Shout out to Rob James. Amazing alpha. Absolutely. Yeah, guys. Hit us with a hashtag value in chat. Darren does things ahead of everybody. Hashtag value, hashtag sauce. As always, shout out to Darren does things. But yeah, shout out to you guys. Let's see. No charts. Just us and you, Frankie. Shout out to Dave Digital. But yeah, guys, basically what we're looking at yesterday, I do just kind of want to update you guys because there were a couple of things that we were looking at yesterday that have pretty much, you know, looked like, and again, I don't want to say it played out like we said because I'm saying we were right, but I do just want to show this simply for the teaching opportunity, right? Again, with the lower highs, we talked about this yesterday, looking for price to potentially give us a lackluster bounce before putting in a lower high and reversing to the downside. Now, why were we expecting that, guys? Remember, the money flow is what we were looking at. I actually still have my VWAP turned off from yesterday. If you guys remember, I turned the VWAP off so we could see the money flow a little better. Or actually, I was looking at the momentum waves. But as you guys know, we were looking for that potential lower high to come in to continue us to the downside because of the way money flow looked, right? Money flow rarely lies. Very, very rarely does money flow lie. And you guys know we had the 4-hour money flow cruising to the downside. And actually, during the show last night, we started getting a crossover into the green. And I was letting everybody know, hey guys, listen, we spent a lot of time in the green here. It could be time to come back into the red and start a bigger red wave. And what happened? We got faked out and we came back into the red because indicators are likely, any indicator you look at is going to give you some kind of fake out signal here. And I just want to kind of spit this sauce real quick. If you're looking at market cipher, specifically the money flow, the way that you can kind of identify if you're going to fake out, or at least the way I do it, is look at where money flow was previously. Right here, we were in the red for a very long time, and then we came into the green, and then we came into the red. But notice it was a fake out into the red. Well, look at all the time we already spent in the red here. So I am not surprised that this was a fake out into the red because it is likely when you spend a lot of time in the red with your money flow, you will eventually come back into the green and turn into a bigger green wave, right? Same thing here. You spent a lot of time in the green, and then you came down, faked out back into the green. You came into the red, faked out into the green, but because that VWAP was coming down, we were expecting when that red dot printed and the VWAP came back below that zero line, money flow would get dragged back down. And that is exactly what we saw happen. And I don't say that to say, hey, look, we were right. I say that because if you're looking at market cipher, this is going to happen to you, in the future, right? It's going to happen again. And that's kind of how you can avoid these fake outs. The first reason I was expecting this to be a fake out was because we had already spent a lot of time in the green and it looked like probably time to spend some time in the red. And number two, we already had the VWAP coming down, and we likely know that when that red dot prints, we're likely going to get a move to the downside, and that will likely pull money flow back down. And that's why with that big pump yesterday, I was saying I am maintaining my bearish sentiment in the short term until money flow turns back around to decisively until we print that red dot and see money flow not come back into the red. So I just want to touch on that because we saw it play out almost exactly as we expected. And again, where did we reject from, guys? I am short currently. Let me pull up the trade. I think I have it open here. Pretty small position, but I am currently short from almost the top here, almost the exact top of that move. I already got locked in profits. Where does it show my? I don't think it's showing here right now. But I already locked in my profits. We're still 80% up. But the one thing I do want to show is why were we expecting a rejection here? And we talked about this yesterday on the live stream. Number one, we were coming up to our value area high, right? This is our value area high. We are looking at this current range that we are trading in, right? We deviated from the range, came down to our next key level, got the long. Well, I didn't get the long. The premium Discord got the long. I did not get my entry. I probably should have just FOMO'd in, but we don't FOMO. But what do? We sat on our hands. We got that big move to the upside. We broke below the value area low, and then we knew that it was likely to get a move to the value area high, and this is where we were likely going to look for shorts. That's why this purple box was here. And and then when you come to the value area high, guys, this is where we look for shorts, right? It is the higher probability trade. We were talking about potentially looking for a rejection at this level here, the value area low. Obviously, we just Lambo candled through that level. Then we were looking for a potential rejection off the POC, right? Lambo candle was still just flooring it through that level. 786 got ripped through. And at that point, we're saying, hey, we're already accepted back into the range. I'm not looking for shorts until we get back up to the highs of the range because I don't like to trade in the middle of the range because once you're accepted into the range, it is much more likely that you're going to go to the opposite side, which is the higher probability setup. And shout out to anybody that was here and remembered us talking about that last night. And we've been getting pretty lucky, not with our calls, but we've been getting lucky with the lessons that I've been teaching on the live stream because like I teach something, like we were looking for lower highs and talking about why we expected this to be a lower high and talking about the specific levels we were looking at. And then when we got that move up, we rejected from there perfectly and put the lower high in. We did the same thing here. We looked for a long here. I was mentioning it on the live stream. We were looking for a move up to the value area high where we were looking for shorts for a lower high to come in and move us back to the downside, and we got the same exact thing. We nuked to the floor, right? And then we were looking for the move up, looking for the rejection at the value area high, and kind of what made this a high probability trade was not only that it was at the high of the value area, guys, but we were also coming down to our local golden pocket of this entire move to the downside. So if you pull your fib from the high to the low, you can see we came up to test that local golden pocket, which if you watch any of my live streams in the past 2 weeks, we know, you should know, that these golden pockets and 786s are a lot of times where price likes to come up, put in the lower high before continuing to the downside. So I just wanted to check in on that stuff because we saw almost exactly like people were wondering last night, people were like, what happened? We're getting a big pump, Frank. I thought money flow was coming out. And I want to hammer home why I was not getting mega bullish off this pump. It was because money flow, right? That's why I was sitting on my hands waiting for the short. Well, I didn't get into the long because I missed my entry. But the reason why I was comfortable shorting this lower high was because money flow was coming out, right? So I hope you guys are absorbing this and starting to understand, why we look for these rejections at certain areas and when we are expecting price to continue down, even when you get a short-term pump, right? Because everyone thinks if you're not an experienced trader or you're not an experienced technical analyst, wow, we got 666 people in here. That's kind of a sketchy number. But if you're not experienced, you might, get a dump like this, and then you see this big pump, and everybody's like, "Oh my God!" It's crazy how quick the sentiment changes. Everybody was calling for zero. The lower lows are coming in, and I remember people I'm mentioning it on my stream, hey, we might bounce here, and people like, "You're an idiot, dude. We're dumping. We're obviously going to lower lows," and I just want you guys to see why I wasn't getting overly bullish on this move to the upside, right? And again, it all goes back to money flow. The 4 hours back in the red. The 5 hour money flow was still looking bearish. We are now getting a crossover into the red. We also have a confirmed blood diamond on the 5 hour now. Coming up to the 6 hour as well. Money flow is finally starting to cross into the red on the 6 hour. And again, we've been looking at this for weeks now. I can actually be money flow has basically been coming down for like 9 days, for over a week, right? Money flow is finally crossing over into the red, and again, this is why I was maintaining my bearish sentiment, because it's not usual to have money flow coming out, and then it does happen once in a while, but it's not often that you'll come all the way down and then just Lambo. I don't know why I have the word Lambo stuck in my head. I wanted to say Lambo candle, but It's not very common that you're going to get a move all the way down to the zero line and then just come into another massive green wave. It can happen, but it's not very common, right? Like even here, we came back into the green, right? But like we didn't come. This was basically a giant short squeeze. If you guys were watching the channel at that time, you will know exactly how we actually pointed out a potential short squeeze coming here, and then like the morning after I posted that in the Discord, we absolutely ripped, I believe. But you can see here, right, massive green wave. We came into the red. This is, I'm not gonna lie, if I did not see that short squeeze coming, I probably would have went pretty short at this value area high. But I saw the short squeeze building by looking at things like Coinalyze that was able to help us see the actual short squeeze building. If you guys are interested in how I was able to spot that, you could check the video on the channel. We have it in our tutorials playlist. But you could see we came into the red. I was pretty bearish up here, right? And then we got that short squeeze to the upside. But look at money flow. Money flow was basically just put in another lower high, right? You have a high here, a lower high here. Money flow is still coming to the downside because this move to the upside wasn't really natural. It was a short squeeze, right? So, you know, it's not very common that you're going to come down to the zero line and then just come into another massive green wave. Honestly, if you go back to like the previous bull runs, you know, it's not even common to see that on, you know, on the run up of a bull run, right? Let's go back and just look at this. But we do have to wrap it up. We are running out of time here, but you can see here, it's like really the only exception is like when you're entering a bull run, like that's where you spend most of the time in the green. So if you're in the middle of a parabolic bull run, and again, it all comes down to context, right? So if you're in the middle of a parabolic bull run, granted, this wasn't, you know, the moves we were kind of just ranging here, but you can see, right, massive green wave, right, come into the red just for a short while. But in a massive bull run, right, like after the halving, you were expecting to spend more time in the green. You can see you came down, faked out into the red, now back into the green, right? But that is in a parabolic bull run. We are not in a parabolic bull run, even though that little pump to the upside made people think we were in a parabolic bull run. We are not in a parabolic bull run. Don't get it twisted, right? So with that being said, money flow is still in the red here. On the daily, we still have money flow in the red, as well as, well, we'll talk about this in a second. Our 2-day is also still in the red with the money flow, so I am going to maintain the same sentiment I had yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before until money flow changes. That is what I'm going to continue kind of leaning. That's the direction I will be continuing to lean, right? Now, with that being said, coming up to the 6-hour, guys, we did, I don't know if we confirmed it just yet. Did we confirm it? No, blood diamond printing on the 6 hours is a pretty bearish sign, right? So we want to keep that in mind with a money flow crossover into the red, right? This isn't just a random blood diamond. It's a blood diamond with money flow crossing over into the red. And that is just printing. So if we see that confirm, I would have to still lean a little bit bearish because of the way money flow is looking, because of the blood diamonds. Now, the one caveat, guys, the one caveat, and I will be looking at the 16-hour to kind of see if this is going to play out. But the one caveat, here's kind of the bullish, and now this is more short to medium term, right? But the bullish divergence here on the daily, guys, this is something I'm watching, right? Because if we print this, it could wind up giving us a decent pump. And if we do print this, it's probably going to happen in the next 28 minutes. If not, it's likely going to happen tomorrow, depending. I mean, I don't know if the bullish divergence will be there, but we'll likely print the green dot either tonight or tomorrow. If we print it tonight, it could be a decent sign, but again, the money flow, guys, the money flow does not look very good, but I will say the one conflicting thing on the chart right now is this daily bull div, so keep a close eye on that with our lower lows on our price action, with our higher lows on our momentum waves, as you can see it right here. So that is basically what we're looking at right now. I know that was a quick little update, but again, just looking at a simple chart here, guys, what did we do, right? We came down. We came down, right? We have a high, came down, lower high, came down, lower high. And it is exactly where we thought we would put it in, right? So just keep that in mind, right? And then the key levels of support, at least for me right now, are going to be essentially the value area, right? The value area low right here at 26,700. If we can get above this level and hold it as support, potentially as that bullish divergence starts to print, that's where I would start to think we are going to get a bigger move up. But until that happens, guys, with the way money flow looks, I am going to continue leaning a little bit bearish and look to short the lower highs until we see things actually flip back around. Oh, God, I don't know what is going on in chat, but everybody is laughing. Yeah, I don't know what you guys are laughing at. Hopefully, you You guys aren't laughing at me. No, I'm just kidding. I think it was Dave Digital centric laughing, but which is pretty common here in the Candle Mafia. But guys, yeah, I feel like I want to go longer in the TA, but we are running out of time. So how many likes do we have? Let's go ahead and check it out because we got to spin that wheel of pain and pleasure. 768 likes. Let's go. That's almost 769 likes. Frankie's going to do the whole show. He forgot. Yeah, shout out to Dave. Don't tempt me with a good time, Dave. I will do the whole show. I will do the entire show. But I really just wanted to show that stuff, guys, because, I'm sure there were a lot of people that were feeling, and again, I don't want to make it sound like we can't go up. But, Dave, call the cops on yourself, please. Dave said, go longer, Daddy. I can't. Somebody ban Dave. I'm kidding. Do not ban Dave. Tony D, if you ban Dave, we're going to have a problem. I'm just kidding. Shout out to Crimson Cipriano. Let's go. Shout out to you, bro. Long is the word of the day. Oh, boy. Are we going long? Like, shout out to, who said that? Donato Cabrera. What is going on, bro? But I just wanted to touch on that because I assume that there were a lot of people yesterday that were feeling confused, right? And I want to hammer this home because shout out to Sari An. Shout out to you, man. No problem at all, bro. This is why I am here. But here's the thing. A lot of people, right? And especially because if you're watching people like me or Lifer or, anybody that you watch on YouTube, you're watching me, right? And I was saying like, hey guys, I'm leaning bearish, right? And then we broke down and then, we're thinking like, hey, if we break this level, we're going bearish. And then we got that big bounce and people were like, wait, what happened? I thought we were bearish. Yes, we were bearish and we still are. That bounce is how they get you, right? That big bounce is like, oh my God, we're going to the moon. And then what happened? We ate almost all of it back up. And that is going to take time to rid those emotions, right? I was not freaking out. I mean, I was mad because I missed the long here, right? But I don't want to say I was mad, but I missed the long here. That was a little annoying, right? But why was I not worried? I got to move this down. We are way past there. But why was I not upset? Or why was I not freaking out like, oh my God, we're going to get a massive, massive move to the upside? The reason was the money flow. That's why I was comfortable taking this short, was because even though we were getting the pump, I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm bullish now automatically. I stuck to my plan. I trusted the TA. The TA was saying money flow coming down, downtrend's likely going to continue. You're going to be better off shorting a lower high than, chasing a long trade, right? Now, if that bull div have confirmed, I said this yesterday, if that bull div confirmed yesterday, I might have been more, what I would have done that would have changed my trading plan, guys. If the bull div confirmed yesterday, I said this on the live, if the bull div confirmed, I would have actually been less likely to short the lower high, but I would have rather, as I missed this move, I would have probably been looking for long positions at a retest of something like a golden pocket, which we may be very close to right now. Let's go ahead and see that real quick. This might be the most important extra little 5 minutes of TA that I've ever done. And there, God, I swear I did not plan that out, guys. Yes, we are near that golden pocket. We've actually just come down and tested it, right? So if we wind up getting that bullish divergence on the daily, that is the only thing that would kind of give me a little bit more of a bullish leaning bias. If we'd have to get the bull div and flip the value area low at 26.7 to support, that would give me the idea that we would probably get a bigger move to the upside. But I just want to point out, if we had that bull div confirmed yesterday, I probably would have been looking to long a lower high. As we got the move up and started to cool off here, I would not have shorted this move because we have a bullish divergence on the daily, and I know that's likely going to give us another move up. So what I would have done was wait for the move up, sit on my hands. Instead of sitting on my hands all through this and then trading this to the downside, I would have sat on my hands here and then also sat on my hands for the move to the downside, and I would have been looking for long confirmations at all of these levels, right? That's where, okay, bull div on the daily, we're probably coming back up, so any move to the downside is likely going to be a retracement, so let me look to long a higher low, but because we didn't have the bull div on the daily, I was much more comfortable shorting this lower high. So there you go, guys. That's the sauce for today, at least for me. You guys got plenty of sauce from Lifer. Smash that like button if you guys found value in what Lifer was talking about. So yeah, shout out to Lifer. Go subscribe to his channel, guys. I appreciate him coming on the show. But with that being said, guys, we are running out of time, so let's go ahead and pull up that wheel of pain and pleasure and start spinning the dang thing and see if we can give away some free stuff. If we get 800 likes by the end of the stream, guys, I will give something cool away. I don't know what it's going to be. Maybe it'll be a hat. Maybe it'll be a shirt. Maybe it'll be a free premium Discord membership for 1 month. But yeah, we'll give away something really good. But right now we got 7 spins. Let's go ahead and see what we got going on. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, Dave said, yes, in the corner cage for me. Oh, God, Dave, are they locking you up, bro? Are they locking you up, Dave? Let's go. Shout out to Dave. Let's see. Let's see. Go long at 26-120. Let's go, baby. Shout out to Buck Carruthers. Shout out to you, man. Hopefully I said that name right. Shout out to Etsy, featuring Wick589. With that being said, shout out to Wick, bro. You kill me, man. You kill me. Let's see. Dave's the lead singer of the band. It's hashtag unbannable. Yeah, Dave would probably have to make a pretty big mistake to get banned. I don't think Dave's getting banned. But he's definitely like one of the funniest. He's like, shout out to Anonymous. Last time we talked about Anonymous, he appeared out of nowhere. But Anonymous hasn't been in the stream for quite some time. But he used to be the funniest CandleMafia member. But I feel like Dave has absolutely come for his spot. But you never know when Anonymous is just gonna pop back up and cause a ruckus. But you know what? I don't know. I don't know if we can handle an Anonymous and a Dave Digital. That might be a little wild. Awesome show with Lifer. Shout out to Jerry Long. I appreciate that so much. Let's see. Shout out to Retail Crypto. Shout out to you, man. Says, what's up? What's going on, bro? Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Etsy. Is that like a play on let's see? Oh! Okay. Shout out to Wick. It does say let's see. I thought that was like a bracket with Etsy. It's an L, but not a capital L, so it looks like just like a line. Shout out to Wick, bro. You're funny, dude. You are funny. Let's see. Dave. Shout out to Enzo Mining. What's going on, Enzo Mining? Shout out to you, bro. Thank you for being here. Good to see you, man. I saw you in the basement today. I saw you, brother. Let's go. Okay. Panda Storm said Frankie Candles, that's double trouble. Yeah, that is definitely double trouble. Shout out to the Biomex. Let's get it, bro. What is going on? I don't even know how many spins we got. Let's see. 6. Oh, baby. Oh, we're gonna add something to the giveaway, guys. I think we'll do a hat today. Or this week we'll do a hat. Shout out to Crypto Cowboy. Great stream today. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Shout out to Lifer. Yeah, Wick put a bunch of glasses in chat, dude. Oh my god, bro. You guys are funny, man. You guys literally crack me up. Me, Tony, Mrs. Candles, like we all laugh about this stuff like off camera. Like we'll be out like on the weekend, like we'll go out to eat or something, do whatever we do. I don't even know what we do out here, but like we'll be hanging out and like just always like, did you see when this person said this in chat the other day? So funny. Like you guys crack me up. You guys are literally a part of our life. Yeah, I just want to say that. You guys are, like, legit a part of my life. Like, you guys are not just, like, it's not like I do this as a job and then, like, I just, like, when I leave, I forget and like, don't think about it. Like, you guys are literally, like, me and Mrs. Candles are constantly cracking up about you guys over dinner, whatever we're doing. I mean, you guys really are a huge part of my life. Yeah, shout out to Jessica's got a signed hat. Yes, absolutely. Shout out to Jessica. Yeah, special edition Frankie Candles hat. Let's go. Extra Alpha today, LFG. Shout out to Crypto Anon. Shout out to the mods, guys. Thank you so much for everything you guys do. And yeah, you guys help out so much. I really do appreciate you. And shout out to Dave. I'm incorporating Dave because he's got the wrench, right? I mean, if you got the wrench, you got the wrench. But let's see here. Oh, shout out to Miss Teen Crypto. I saw you in here as well. I don't know if she's still in here, but shout out to Miss Teen Crypto. Honda Man in the chat. Let's go. What do we got, guys? Look at that hit rate. I don't know if you guys can see that. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 8 out of 10, guys. Literally 80% hit rate. Unbelievable. So give them a giveaway. Let's go. Bing bong. I'm throwing money. Let's go. Bing bong. Let's go. It's just flying everywhere except for on camera. I'm gonna have to practice my money throwing skills, guys. But with all that being said, guys, I think that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. Smash that like button on your way out. I appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in. If you're here from Lifer's community, shout out to you guys. We appreciate you. If you enjoyed the content, hey, You could be a mafia lifer. You could be a lifer mafia. Go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you found value here. But yeah, guys, I appreciate everybody for being here. There's a lot of things you guys could be doing with your time, and you chose to do 2 hours of TA with your boy Frankie Candles and your boy Crypto Lifer. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I don't just say that. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. That's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And with that being said, that's all I got. Frankie Candles out. Bing bang! And we're back. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to... No, I'm just kidding, guys. But real quick, someone did just say super chats. I did not get to the super chats because I wasn't able to see chat. But shout out to everybody who super chatted. Shout out to Apples Up North for gifting the 5 Frankie Candles memberships. Shout out to Gregory. I am not even going to attempt that last name. But shout out to Gregory. Says 2 legends, Frankie and Lifer. Excited. Shout out to you, man. I do appreciate the kind words. I know Lifer does as well. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Crypto Billy. Absolute menace with a $99.99. It's a $100 super chat. Shout out to Crypto Billy, dude. You're a menace. I love you to death, bro. And he says, let's get this party started with these 2 great men, givers, these 2 great men, givers, teachers. It is great to see good people helping us get to the next level in crypto. Much love. God bless. P.S. Sam, Tex-Mex Biomex wants a 9-ball rematch. Oh, yeah, you guys are playing pool. I forget where, maybe Consensus. Shout out to Crypto Billy. I love you, brother. Thank you so much for all the support, endless support. And then the Biomex coming in right underneath them. Let's see. Klingon, Tic Tac, Hosnaz, Tuzluz. I don't even know what this is. Hasna Tulu. Real power is in the heart. Tex-Mex Biomex. Shout out to the Biomex. I butchered that. I'm sorry. I don't really know what that says, but shout out to the Biomex. Thank you for the $5 super chat, and I will fight for the rematch, the 9-ball rematch for you. Shout out to Biomex. Shout out to Crypto Pollo. Said emotion has no place in trading. Absolute truth. Shout out to Crypto Pollo. I miss you, brother. Also known as Bitcoin Chicken. And Crypto Billy with another $2 super chat. Frankie, your mic volume is really low, bro. Thank you for that. I did actually see that. Hopefully I fixed it. Creighton C, gifting the 10 Frankie Candles memberships. Bro, you're crazy. Thank you so much. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. And then Dave Digital said, Lifer, please give Frankie your secret recipe or secret lemon water recipe. That I will need. But guys, I will say I am learning how to drink water again because I haven't drinking water in years, and here I am. I have to get the thing that labels it by day, so I know, oh God, it's 5 p.m. I have to suck down some water. But guys, with all that being said, thank you for the super chats. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Thank you for hanging out on the live stream. And with that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow, same place, same time, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right after ATB. Shout out to my boy DZ. I'll see you guys tomorrow. That's all I got. Frankie Candles out. Hasta pasta. Bing bang.